Okay, can you see the slides, please?
Yes.
Okay, good morning. Today you are going to learn about poultry, especially chicken. So, how they managed and how to eat and egg from them. So, let's start. So, first of all, we will see who are poultry. So, poultry refers to domestic species of birds which gives economic benefits to human beings by producing eggs and meat and feathers and etc. That means they are birds, domestic birds. That means they live with us. They eat what we give, and also they provide economic benefits such as producing meat, basically, and other things also like feathers and fertilizers likewise. So these are some poultry species. Here I put some photos. First one is turkey, and this is quail. Quail means in Sinhala we say vatua, and chicken and guinea fowl. So those are poultry species. Some of poultry species we will discuss later. The rest of the species. So these birds will provide so many advantages. We will discuss now what we get from poultry. That means what are the things we can obtain from poultry by rearing poultry. So first, poultry meat. We obtain meat, chicken, basically, and by obtaining chicken, we can convert chicken into various meat products such as sausage, meatballs, and ham, chicken bacon. Likewise, we can convert those chicken meat into various products. At the same time, we can obtain eggs as well. Table eggs. It is very cheap protein source available in Sri Lanka, cheapest protein source. So it is very beneficial. Especially it is rich in vitamins and the essential nutrition. So especially for the children, eating eggs is very good. So they can be also obtained by rearing poultry. And feathers. Feathers are used to produce feather meal. What do you mean by feather meal? Feather meal is an animal feed ingredient. It provides protein source for the animal feed. සතුන්ගේ ආහාර නිෂ්පාදනයේදී එක ඉන්ග්‍රීඩියන්ට් එකක් විදිහට මේ feather meal පාවිච්චි කරනවා. මේ feather meal එක හදන්නේ කුකුල්ලුන්ගේ පිහාටු වලින්. At the same time, it can be used to produce fertilizers, shuttlecocks, badminton එකේ shuttlecock and pillows. So another things we get from poultry are poultry waste. Poultry waste, kukul pohora කියලා කියන්නේ in Sinhala. So it is nutrition rich, protein rich, organic manure that can be utilized for growing crops. And ornamental purposes also, we can rear poultry. Species like silkies, bantams, they are very colorful species. I'll show you some photographs. So these are bantam chicken, and this is silky chicken. So those are rearing for ornamental purposes, fancy purposes. So those are the things we can get from poultry. Now you know who are poultry and what are the things we can get from poultry. So then we will discuss about the advantages of poultry farming. Poultry farming, what are the advantages by rearing poultry? So as you know, it provides eggs and meat, which are highly nutritive, and they are available at low cost. Compare with the 1 kilogram of beef, it is very cheap to consume chicken. Beef kilo එකක් දැන් 2000 පන්නනවානේ. but chicken kilo එකක් 1200ක් විතර වෙනකොට ගන්න පුළුවන්. So at the same time, the poultry farming requires less investment. To start a poultry farm, you need very low amount of money compared with the cattle, goat, and large animals. One room with one house with one room is enough to rear poultry. And you can do mixed farming, integrated farming, and diversified farming concept. That means you can you can combine two systems of farming with poultry. For an example, පොකුණක් යට තියෙද්දි උඩ කුකුල් කූඩුවක් හැදුවොත් කුකුළුන්ගේ fecal matters පොකුණට යනවා. එතකොට මාළුන්ට කෑමක් වෙනවා ඒ fecal matters. ඒක නිසා it is called integrated farming. So we can do integrated farming with poultry, and it is another income for the farmer. At the same time, poultry farming provides employment opportunity for the rural and urban youth. Since the demand for the poultry meat is very much increasing, rapidly increasing in Sri Lanka, no social barriers for poultry farming, no cultural barriers for poultry farming. Of course, you know, chicken is eaten by every community. Even Muslims, even Catholics, even Buddhists, even Tamils, they eat chicken. No cultural barriers, no social barriers for eating chicken. So rapidly, the demand is growing for the poultry. For the chicken, there is a huge demand. So it provides nice opportunity. With rise in demand, you can earn more profit. So it is a nice employment opportunity for the youth. At the same time, it is a tool for women empowerment because they are very little animals, can control easily, can restrain easily, can manage easily as well. So women can engage in this farming activity. So it is a women empowerment tool. They can stay at home and rear chicken and earn money. So it is nice opportunity for the women. Other than eggs and meat, feathers like byproducts we can obtain. Then another income source for the farm. At the same time, the production cycle of the poultry is somewhat low. For an example, we can obtain meat by rearing broilers within 8 weeks. දවස් 42කින් අපිට broiler slaughter කරලා මස් ගන්න පුළුවන්. So very short period we have to invest. Quick return we can get. So farmer is safe by doing poultry farming. So these are the available poultry species, common poultry species. As I mentioned before, this is turkey. කලුකුන් කියලා කියන්නේ ඒගොල්ලන්ට. So this is quail, watu, and guinea fowl. Guinea kukulo කියලා කියන්නේ ඕගොල්ලෝ. And duck. Who is this fellow? This is goose. Goose means pattaya. And chicken. So basically, among all these species, I am discussing with you about this fellow, that means chicken. So we will discuss about chicken in detail. First, we will look at the scientific background. So chicken belongs to kingdom Animalia, phylum Chordata, class Aves, family Phasianidae, subfamily Phasianidae, and genus Gallus, species Gallus. So the scientific name of the broiler chicken is Gallus domesticus. Domesticus means those domesticated, right? So this is the scientific background or the classification of the chicken. So these are some external body parts for your reference, because in order to identify the breed characteristics, you need to have an idea about the body parts. what are the body parts in the chicken. So this is comb, beak, and these are wattles. Karamal කියලා කියන්නේ සිංහලෙන්. This is comb and earlobes are there. So this is shank. කකුලේ තියෙන මේ bone එකට we are telling shank, and this is toe. මේ toe එක පිටිපස්සෙන් තව අර ඔයගොල්ලෝ සිංහලෙන් කියනවා පොර කටුව කියලා. අන්න ඒකට කියන්නේ claw කියලා. This is claw. And the joint in between the shank and the thigh is called as hock. It is called hock joint. And the vent of the bird is called as cloaca. Vent means Guda vivare. It is called as cloaca. So those are the basic body parts of the chicken. You have to have an idea. So then, as an introduction, let's discuss about common terms, because these terms you should know in order to understand the management practices. The first one is layers. Have you ever heard the name layer? So layer are the chickens raised for eggs. That means we obtain eggs from the layer birds. So broiler, you know, I know. I'm sure you know who are broilers. The broilers means chickens who are raised for meat purpose. Chickens who are raised for egg purpose is called as layers, and chickens who are raised for meat purpose called as broilers. So there's another term called breed. So breed means group of chicken with same size, same shape, and that means group of chicken which have similar characteristics and similar genetic makeup. There are several breeds. For an example, Leghorn, Ancona, Mincora, those are the available breeds. That means they have the breed Leghorn. The birds belongs to breed Leghorn has similar characteristics. The birds belongs to breed Ancona has similar characteristics. Leghorn and Ancona, they are different set of birds. Each breed shares similar characteristics. That means Leghorn එකේ ඉන්න කට්ටිය Leghorn ගේ ideal characteristics තමයි තියෙන්නේ. The birds who are belong to breed Leghorn. Ancona එකේ breed Ancona කට්ටිය ඒගොල්ලන්ට වෙනම characteristic ටිකක් තියෙනවා. ඒගොල්ලෝ අතර similar, but breeds අතර different characters තමයි තියෙන්නේ. So it is called breed. And now the variety. The word variety is a subdivision of breed. That means within a breed, there can be several varieties. Right? For an example, these two birds belongs to breed Leghorn. See, the size is same, shape is same. But the difference is in the color. පාට තමයි වෙනස තියෙන්නේ. So, they are belong to same breed, but to different varieties. They are belong to breed Leghorn, but this is from white variety and this is from brown variety. So it is called white Leghorn and this is called brown Leghorn. So variety is a subdivision of the breed. So now the strengths. Strengths are the breeding populations. That means they are not in natural environment. They have been bred. Some breeder or some organization or somebody, they have been bred by crossing two or more breeds. Breeds දෙකක් හෝ ගොඩක් එකට cross කරලා අපි හදාගන්න සත්තු ජාතියට අපි කියනවා strain එකක් කියලා. So in poultry industry, these strains are used. There are separate broiler strains and there are separate layer strains. Broiler strains, the common examples are Cobb 500, Cobb 700, Hubbard, and Hubbard flakes. For the layer strains, Shaver Brown, Highline White, Highline Brown. So those are available layer strains. So broiler strains we are using to produce meat. Layer strains, of course, we are using to produce eggs. These strains are made by crossing two or more breeds together, and their breeding population results from various series of breeding series of breedings they have been obtained after they are resulted after series of breeding. ඒ කියන්නේ breeds දෙකක් හෝ තුනක් එකට cross කරලා තමයි මේ strains හදන්නේ. broiler strains වෙනම හදනවා meat purpose වලට, layer strains වෙනම හදනවා බිත්තර ලබා ගන්න. so මේවා තමයි ලංකාවේ දැනට commonම broiler breed strains නුයි layer strains. So now there is a term when we learn poultry, there is a term called class. Class means set of birds which have been originated from a certain place. That means if some breeds are originated in Asia, those breeds are belong to Asiatic class. If some breeds, that means for an example, Leghorn, you know this bird. This breed is Leghorn. They are originated in Italy. So they are categorized under Mediterranean class. So there are some breeds originated from America. So they have been categorized under American class. There are some birds breed originated from England. So they are categorized under English class. That is how this class word is coming. And it is used to categorize the birds who are originated from a certain place. So these are the common terms you have to learn. You have to have an idea when you learn the poultry. So up until now, do you have any problem, question, or do you need any clarification? මොන හරි ප්‍රශ්න තියෙනවද? Can somebody speak, please? තේරුණාද?
Yes, madam.
Okay. So let's move to the classification of the chicken. That means for the easiness of understanding, for the easiness of memorizing the things, we do classify the available chicken breeds. So the classification can be based on various criteria. There are main categorization is based on according to the origin. As I told you, according to the origin, there are some classes. There are some classes: Asiatic class, English class, Mediterranean class, and American class. So each class belongs several breeds. That means from Asiatic class, the breeds originated in Asian countries are categorized under Asiatic class. ආසියාවේ හැදිච්ච breeds අපි ඔක්කොම ආසියාතික class එකේ තමයි, Asiatic class එකේ තමයි categorize කරන්නේ. So let's discuss about each class in detail. First, the American class. This class contains 13 breeds which have been originated in Canada or United States. That means this class is consisted with 13 breeds. So originated in those breeds are originated in Canada or USA. And those are very heavy breeders most of the time. Heavy breeds means their body conformation is much higher. They are big. in simply. And most of the time they lay brown eggs and they are called hardy. Because if they are originated in Canada, definitely they should be called hardy. That means they should resist the cold, right? So examples for those breeds are American class breeds are Plymouth Rock, Rhode Island Red, New Hampshire. So those are the example for the breeds categorized under American class. So then the English class. These are the breeds in the England. Most of the time they are dual purpose. Sorry, egg purpose. So for examples for these English class breeds are Australorp, Cornish, and Sussex. So those are the three examples for the English class breeds. So the Mediterranean class, they have been originated in Italy and Spain. They have white earlobes and tend to produce white eggs. They are very good in laying eggs. So these are dual purpose birds and these are very good in laying eggs. So Leghorn is the nice egg producer, producing more eggs. At the same time, they have foraging ability. Foraging ability, what do you mean by foraging ability? Can anybody tell me? What is foraging ability? කුකුලෝ එළියේ ඉන්නකොට ඔය තනකොළ මේවා කනවා දැකලා තියෙනවද? It is called foraging. That means they eat grass. So it is called foraging skill. That means they are eating grass. So it is beneficial for weed management. And the examples for the Mediterranean class are Leghorn, Anaconda, and Mincora. So those are the breeds we categorize under Mediterranean class. So this is Asiatic class. As you can see, those are very heavy breeds. And they have feathered legs. Their legs are covered with feathers. Right? So the examples for the breeds. Yes, ආහාර ගැනීමේ හැකියාව. Foraging. Okay, very good. So their legs are covered with feathers. As you can see, the examples for the Asiatic class breeds are Brahma. This is Brahma. Cochin and Langshan. This is Langshan. So these are the available breeds under Asiatic class. Now you know what is class and what are the breeds we can classify under each class, right? So this is the classification we made based on the origination. That means based on the origin, from where they born. We do classify. Now we will discuss about the classification based on the purpose of clarity. That means according to the usage. There are some birds we use for game purpose. Porakukulu dannone. Those are called game birds. For example, Asil breeds. I'll show you Asil breeds. So these are Asil breed. I mean, they're kind of important. So those are game birds. We are using them for game. And meat type birds. Meat type means we are rearing them to produce meat. Cornish, Langshan, those are meat type birds. Egg type birds, the breeds who are producing more eggs. For an example, Leghorn. They are producing more eggs. So they are egg type birds. Dual type means they are producing eggs and meat both. So example for dual type breed meat or Rhode Island Red. And for the fancy or exhibition type birds are silkies, bantams. Those birds are fancy birds. So according to the usage, we can classify the poultry like this. So this is the end of the introductory part. We discuss about who are poultry, the definition, then what are the things we can get from poultry and what are the advantages we can get, and who are the species we can classify under poultry. I told you several species and we are going to discuss in detail about this fellow, the chicken, then the scientific classification of the chicken, the body parts of the chicken, and the common terms we have to have an idea when we learn about chickens. Then the classification, how we classify each and every breed of poultry, and the classification based on place of origin. We divided into 4 classes of these birds, and then the classification according to the usage. So this is the end of the introductory part. If you need any clarification regarding these things, please ask, because I am going to discuss with you about broiler and layer management. So tell me if you need any clarification. ප්‍රශ්න තියෙනවද මොනවා හරි?
Madam.
Yes.
What
Can you
is
speak louder, please?
sorry. What is mean of naked neck?
Naked neck means
Naked.
no,
Oh, sorry.
yeah.
The sea. I thought.
Naked neck means no feathers in the neck.
Yeah, I know. I think it gives another meaning. You know the
Okay.
mistake.
I'll
Sorry.
show you some photos of the naked.
No, I have seen. I mean the sea.
Okay. There.
The spelling is.
Okay. Yes. It's very common in Sri Lanka, naked neck breed.
No, the spelling mistake gives another meaning.
Okay.
Sorry.
Okay. Okay. Do you have any doubts or clarification? Do you need any clarification? Okay, so if you don't need any clarification, I am going to discuss with you. Now you know there are 2 types of birds we are rearing, layers and broilers. Layers to produce eggs and broilers to produce meat. So now here onwards we are discussing about this layer management and broiler management. What are the things we should do to produce meat from these broilers? Simply as that. What are the things we should do to produce eggs from these layers? So those are called management practices. So now onwards, we are going to learn about those management practices. How we can manage broilers to produce meat. දැන් අපි යන්නේ layers ලාගෙන් බිත්තර ගන්න කොහොමද, broilers ලාගෙන් බිත්තර ගන්න කොහොමද, sorry, broilers ලාගෙන් මස් ගන්න කොහොමද, අපි ඒවට මොනවද කරන්න ඕනි කියලා. Clear? Okay, let's first we will discuss about, can you see the slide?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So first we will discuss about broiler. In definition, broiler is a chicken about 8 weeks of age
of either sex. Either sex means they can be male or female. Doesn't matter. For the layers, definitely they should be female because male birds can't lay eggs. For the broilers, it is no problem. We can rear both female and male because we are keeping them only 8 weeks and we produce meat, not to obtain eggs. And of either sex, and with an average body weight 1.5 to 2 kilograms. There should be 1.5 to 2 kilograms of average weight. And they are consisted with flexible breastbone cartilage, pliable and tender meat. That means their bones, ඔගොල්ලෝ chicken කනකොට කටු එහෙම කාලා ඇති නේද? ඒවා එච්චර හයිය නැහැනේ. Very soft. Most of the time they are in cartilage form. And pliable and tender meat, the meat of the broiler is much soft. සමහර broilers ලා කන්න කැමතිත් නෑ අර meaty texture එක නැහැ කියලා. Because we are rearing, we are keeping them only 8 weeks. හරි පොඩි සත්තු වයස එච්චර නෑ. ඒ හින්දා තමයි අර pliable tender meat එකක් ඇවිල්ලා තියෙන්නේ. So this is the definition of the broiler. SWS Achinta, can you mute your mic, please? Okay, thank you. So, advantages of the broiler management are, that means what can we get from managing broilers? Of course, initial, like we discussed in the poultry, initial investment is very much low. Only we need is one room to keep our birds. And the production cycle, rearing period is very much short. Within 6 to 8 weeks, we can earn profit because only we are going to rear them up until 8 weeks age. Then we slaughter them and produce meat. So, farmer can earn quick return from doing poultry, broilers. And number of flocks, that means flock means group of bird. අපි ඔයාලා එකපාර broilers ලා 100ක් ගෙනවා නම් අන්න ඒක flock එකක් ඒගොල්ලෝ. හරිද? ඊට පස්සේ ආයෙ පාරක් 100ක් ගෙනවා නම් ඒක තව flock එකක්. So number of flocks we can rear at the same period. අපිට කාමර දෙකක් තියෙනවා නම් flock දෙකක් allocate කරන්න පුළුවන්. Unlike cattle and goat, we can do multiple flocks together at the same time. And compare with the other livestock species, poultry has higher feed conversion ratio. Feed conversion ratio means the least amount of feed required for enhancing 1 kilograms of body weight. That means මස් කිලෝ එකක් ගන්න කෑම කිලෝ කීයක් කන්න ඕනේද? පැහැදිලිද? feed conversion ratio කියන්නේ ඒක. අපිට මස් කිලෝ එකක් ගන්න කුකුලාගේ බර කිලෝ එකකින් වැඩි කරගන්න නම් කෑම කිලෝ කීයක් දෙන්න ඕනේද කියන එක තමයි feed conversion ratio කියලා කියන්නේ. එතකොට බර කිලෝ එකකින් වැඩි කරන්න කෑම දෙන ප්‍රමාණය අඩුයි නම් ෆාමට ඒක advantages. පැහැදිලිද? So in broilers it has high feed conversion efficiency. So faster return, because the production cycle is too short, we can earn quick return. And demand within the country for the broiler chicken is very much high and it is rapidly increasing day by day. So it is advantageous. So now you know what are the advantages of this business. Now we will discuss about the management practices of this business. So these are the production stages of the broilers. First, we should buy day-old chicks from available hatchery. Hatchery means the place where eggs are incubated and produce day-old chicks. These are day-old chicks. Day-old chick means දවසක් වයස පැටව. අපි ඒගොල්ලන්ව ගන්න ගිහිල්ලා commercial hatchery එකකින් hatchery එකක් කියන්නේ බිත්තර රක්කවලා පැටවු හදන තැනකට. Right? So we purchase these chicks from hatchery and we brood them from day 1 to 3 weeks of age. 3 weeks of brooding period is there, and it facilitates the required temperature, external temperature, for the comfort of the chicks. After 3 weeks, we do rearing. This is rearing period. From 3rd week to 8th week, it is called rearing. And after 8 weeks of age, we do slaughtering and produce broiler meat. So this is how the production process is going on. In each stage of production, there are separate set of management practices we have to fulfill to produce this kind of quality meat, more quality meat from this kind of day-old chicks. Right? Now onwards, we are going to learn about those practices. So, for the easiness of understanding, these management practices can be divided into two. One is management before day-old chicks arrive. The other one is management before, after day-old chicks arrive. ඒ කියන්නේ අපි දැන් මේගොල්ලන්ව ගන්න hatchery එකකින් සල්ලි දීලා farm එකට ගන්න කලින් කරන්න ඕන දේවලුයි. සල්ලි hatchery එකෙන් සල්ලි දීලා අරගෙන farm එකට ගෙනාවට පස්සේ කරන්න ඕන දේවලුයි කියලා අපි කොටස් දෙකකට බෙදලා. So let's about management before day-old chicks arrive. First one is housing establishment. This rearing system is not important for you. So before you purchase day-old chicks from the hatchery, you have to build a house for your day-old chicks. To build a house, you have to select a location. Proper location you have to select. The location should be far away from other buildings because animal farming, it generates huge odor, unbearable odor. So, crowded area we should not select. නැත්නම් මිනිස්සු පෙස්සන් ගන්නවා. ගඳේ ඉන්න බෑනේ. At the same time, fertile, well-drained soil. What is the importance of well-drained soil? Because you know, when the rain is come, flooding can happen if the drainage කියන්නේ වතුර ගලාගෙන යනවා කියන්නේ. If the drainage is not happen properly, definitely flooding will be there. ගං වතුර ගලුවහම කුකුල්ලු උඩ පාවෙනවා. We can't do poultry rearing in the flood. So the well-drained soil is a must. And the place should be more convenient. That means infrastructure should be available. What are the infrastructure should be available? Electricity, water, clean water, and road access should be there. Road access is must because we are purchasing chicks from another place and we are selling meat to another place. To transportation of these products, we need road access. And the farm should be away from wild animals because of the two reasons. Protection of the birds is first one, because animals will come and eat our chickens. The other one is the wild animals, they can carry disease-causing agents. Wild animals are resistant for these agents, but still they are carrying them. And our small chickens, they can't resist those disease-causing pathogens. So they will get sick. Wild animals ලා අරගෙන එනවා මේ විස බීජ ලෙඩ හදන්න පුළුවන් විස බීජ අරගෙන එනවා. ඒ හින්දා ඒගොල්ලන් එන එක අපි වළක්වන්න ඕනේ. Wild animals ලා ඒ diseases වලට resistant ප්‍රතිරෝධයක් දක්වනවා. හැබැයි අපේ ඉන්න කුකුල්ලු ඒකට resistant නැහැ. So we have to prevent the entering of the wild animals into our premises. And the available of the vegetation. That vegetation means the plants, trees. There should be trees with less limbs. Adu eva තියෙන්න ඕනේ because wild birds can stay there. If there are so many limbs, wild birds can stay there and they can carry some diseases into our premises. So those are the things we should consider when we do selecting a proper location for our poultry farm, to establish our poultry farm. So after selecting a proper place, there are some factors we have to consider when we construct our broiler house. The temperature of the broiler house should be in between 19 to 27. And the house should be less width and more length. ඒ කියන්නේ පළලින් අඩු දිගින් වැඩි. Tell me somebody why we should maintain such a shape. පළල අඩු කරලා දිග වැඩි කරලා තියෙන්නේ. What is the reason? කාට හරි කියන්න පුළුවන්ද? ඇයි මෙහෙම පළල අඩු කරලා දිග වැඩි කරලා තියෙන්නේ? Easy to our manage. Tisari Diniti, can you elaborate your answer? How it is easy? If we increase the width, what about the oxygen content at the middle? Suppose this there is a room with 1,000 amount of poultry.
Ventilation.
Yes, ventilation, definitely. To obtain the ventilation. Right? Because at the middle of the cage, it is very less in oxygen amount if the width is high. පළල වැඩි වුණොත් අනිවාර්යෙන්ම මැදට ඔක්සිජන් යනවා අඩුයි. So our birds will die. To avoid that, we made less width, more length cages. And the house orientation should be east to west axis to prevent direct sunlight entering for the broiler house. If the direct sunlight is occurred, the temperature inside the broiler cage is increased. So then the birds will suffering from heat stress. To avoid that, we are building our house into east to west axis. So those are the factors we have to keep in our mind when we build a house for our poultry. So now we will discuss about the constructions. First of all, roof construction. So there are several types of roofs available. This is single type, this is double type, this is also double type roof, and this is monitor type roof, and this is semi-monitor type roof, right? So what is the importance of having this type of monitor type roofs? In this monitor type roof, මෙතන ඔයගොල්ලන් දැකලා ඇති මෙහෙම පොඩ්ඩක් උස්සලා තියෙනවා. මේ
Reduce the
දෙපැත්තෙන්
temperature.
Yeah, temperature definitely. මේ දෙපැත්තෙන් තියෙන්නේ wire mesh එකක් දාලා.
Oh, air circulation.
Yeah, so yes, that means once the air inside the cage is the temperature of the air inside the cage is increased, the heated air is moving up and removing from these two sides, right? Once those are removed, the fresh air is coming from the outside by the windows. Such type of circulation is there in the monitor type proofing system. The semi-monitor type is also same, but not efficient as monitor type. Semi-monitor type එකෙත් මෙන්න මෙතන තියෙන wire mesh එක දිගට. හරිද? මේකේ දෙපැත්තකින් wire mesh එක තියෙනවා. මේක එක පැත්තකින් විතරයි තියෙන්නේ. Here also the heated air is moving up at the inside of the cage. Then it is removing from this side, and then the fresh air is coming into the broiler cage by the windows. So that is how the circulation is taking place. The ventilation is good. At the same time, maintaining the temperature is also good in this monitor type roofing system, and it is very much suitable for hot climates. මේක නුවරඑළිය වගේ හීතල පැත්තක මේකක් හදන්නේ නැත. මේක හදන්නේ hot climates වල තමයි. Right, so the things we are going to construct should be compatible with the available weather condition or the climatic condition of the particular area. And we can use asbestos sheet, corrugated iron sheets, zinc sheets to construct the roof. So now we will discuss about the walls. So we can build walls according to the climatic condition. There is a dry zone area, we can go for half walls. Or we can go for wire mesh wall. That means like this. Like this we can build in hot climates. But of course in cold climate, මේ විදිහ එකක් හදුවොත් කුරුල්ලෝ මැරෙනවා සීතල දරා ගන්න බැලුව. So we should build walls from cement or something. We should build full walls. So the wall should be watertight. වතුර ඇතුළට එන්න දෙන්න බෑ. And windproof. At the same time, interior surface of the wall should be easy to clean. Otherwise, dirt material will be adhered. Once it is adhered, it is hard to remove. So definitely we should maintain the smoothness when we construct walls. And then the door, there is very much important, the constructions of the door. It should be large enough to allow a man to get in through. That means කුකුලෝ ඉන්නේ කියලා පොඩි දොරක් හදන්න බෑ. මොකද management practices කරන්න labors ලා ඇතුළට යන්න ඕනි. So it should be large enough to allow man to get in through. At the same time, in front of door, there should be a footbath. This is footbath. This is the door, then this is footbath. This footbath is filled with disinfectant such as chlorine, Dettol, Lysol, likewise disinfectant. කවුරු හරි පිටින් කෙනෙක් මේ footbath එකට බහැලා තමයි මේ poultry house එක ඇතුළට යන්නේ. So it will kill the disease causing pathogens coming from the visitors. Visitors ලාගෙන් එන disease causing pathogens ලා වළක්වන්න තමයි footbath එක function කරන්නේ. ඒක දොර ඉස්සරහෙන් තමයි හදන්න ඕනේ. So the floor should be, we can build solid for either wire mesh floor. This is wire mesh floor. Make a wire mesh floor එකක්. So dung material can easily go down. අපි integrated system එකක වගේ මේ හදනවා නම් poultry house එක, definitely we should go for wire mesh floor. So when we constructing wire mesh floor, 0.5 to 0.5 inches wire mesh is more than enough. ඊට වඩා ලොකුවට ගත්තොත් කුකුළුන්ට ඇවිදින්න බෑ. කකුල් වැටෙනවා ඇතුළට. So it is very much easy to collect dung materials from this type of floor. And we can prepare solid floor also. අපි wire mesh එකක නෙවෙයි නම් මේ සත්තු හදන්නේ open house එක නිකන් අපි cement construct එකක නම් solid floor එකක් අපිට හදන්න පුළුවන්. So the solid floor should be covered with a litter. What do you mean by litter material? ඔයගොල්ලෝ දැකලා තියෙනවද කුකුල්ලු හදනකොට ඒගොල්ලෝ හදන්නේ ලී කුඩු හරි මොනවා හරි sorry yes in Sinhala it is called අතුරුණුව මොනවා හරි අර sawdust or ලී කුඩු sawdust chopped straw paddy husk likewise we put on the the surface of the floor is covered with a layer of paddy husk or something. It is called litter. It enhances the chick comfort. So now we will discuss about that litter. And it acts as insulation and comfort for the birds. Walking is very much easy, and it provides insulation as well for the birds. When we cover the floor with the litter. So these are the available litter types: wood shavings, sawdust, chopped straw, and paddy husk we can use as litter material. So thickness of the litter is normally should be 2 inches. That means අපි පොළවේ ඉඳන් මේ litter එක දානකොට අඟල් දෙකක් විතර උසට තමයි මේක දාන්න ඕනේ. ඊට වඩා වැඩි කරන්න හොඳ නැහැ. ඊට වඩා අඩු කරන්නත් හොඳ නැහැ. And this litter should be changed every day. Change every day means it should be turned every day. යට තියෙන දැන් අඟල් දෙකක් තියෙනවනේ දාලා. ඒකට අඟල් දෙකෙන් යටම තියෙන litter එක උඩට හරවන්න ඕනේ in order to reduce the available ammonia gas. දැන් සත්තු මේකට දැම්මට පස්සේ ඒගොල්ලෝ ජරා කරනවා, කෑම හලා ගන්නවා, වතුර හලා ගන්නවා මේ litter එක උඩ. So the litter is getting contaminated. Once it is contaminated with fecal matters and the animal feed, definitely ammonia is generated from this litter. This ammonia is very much toxic for our birds, so we should reduce this ammonia. That is why litter turning is important. Once we do turning, the down layer coming up and the ammonia is released. Ammonia is exposed because the down layer is exposed to the oxygen, then the ammonia release can be happen. So likewise, we should manage the litter each and every day. So this is about the litter, and these are the available feeders and waterers. මොකද අපි සතු හදනවා නම් ඒගොල්ලන්ට කෑම බීම දෙන්න ඕනේ. So these are the feeders and waterers we should use to provide feed and water for our birds. This is called feeding trough, and this is called feeding trays. At the initial stage, we are using these type of feeding trays, and then for the feeding troughs, and at the last stages we use feeders, these type of feeders and waterers. These are called hanging type bell-shaped feeders and waterers. So that is how we are using these type of feeding and watering equipment. So those are the things we should keep in mind when constructing housing, and these are the things we need auxiliary for the broiler housing system. And now we will discuss about the cleaning and disinfection. Now we construct a house, and now we are going to clean it. This cleaning should be done at the beginning once the house is constructed. At the same time, in between 2 production cycles. That means අපි එක ටොක් එකක් හදලා ඉවර වෙලා ඒගොල්ලන්ව ස්ලෝටර් කරලා මසුත් හදලා ඊට පස්සේ ආයෙත් පැටව ගෙනල්ලා ක්ලීන් කරන්න නැතුව එතනටම දාන්නේ නැත. මෙන්න මේ ක්ලීනින් ප්‍රොසීජර් එක practice කරලා තමයි ඊළඟ flock එක ගෙනල්ලා දාන්න. Right? So let's discuss about this process. First of all, we should remove all the utensils. That means water, the available litter, water, and the feeder. First, we should remove the waters and feeders, and we should wash them separately and allow them to dry. Then there are there is the available litter in previous production cycle. කලින් කුළු හදද්දී හිටපු litter එක දැන් මේකේ තියෙනවා. We should remove it by shovel and we can utilize them to make broiler litter compost. After removing all the litter, we should wash roofs, nets and walls with clean water. With clean water, we should wash them. We should rub the floor thoroughly because floor is the most contaminated area with dung material and feed material. And then we should apply the detergent. Apply the detergent. What is detergent? We should wash the floor with floor and the wall and the things with water and the detergent. What do you mean by detergent? Have you ever heard the term detergent?
සේදුම්කාරක ශාලක වගේ දේවල්.
සේදුම්කාරක කියන්නේ මොනවාද? ඔයගොල්ලෝ දන්න සේදුම්කාරකයක් කියන්න බලන්න detergent එක. Why we should use detergent?
There's a germicide.
No, it's not germicide.
පිරිසිදුකාරකයක් විදිහට.
Yes, that means it removes simply sabang. It removes oil and dirt only, not the bacteria, virus like pathogens. The detergent removed oil and dirt. Right? After washing with detergent, then we can spray suitable disinfection. Suitable disinfectant. For an example, chlorine, Dettol, Lysol, Biocid 100. Likewise, there are some disinfectants. After washing with detergent, then we apply disinfectant for the disinfection purpose. Ara COVID kaale hoga disinfect kare. Chlorine here. Likewise. After that, we apply lime. For further disinfection. We apply lime for the floor, walls, roofs, all the surfaces where the chicks are contacted. We should apply lime. After that, we should wash the feeders and waterers and let them dry. And after all these lime application and cleaning, we should keep the house empty 7 to 4 යනකම් මේකට සත්තු දාන්න බෑ. It is for resting period. Clear for you? Days, we can function the food bath once the day-old chicks are purchasing. අපි හෙට day-old chicks ලා ගෙනවා නම් අද food bath එක function කරනවා with suitable disinfectant. Clear all of you? The cleaning procedure? තේරුණාද? Can somebody speak, please?
It is clear.
Okay. Okay, so after cleaning, so we should do preheating. Suppose tomorrow we are planning to obtain chicks from the hatchery. Now we should switch on the light and enhance the heat and the temperature of the house. Because in the hatcheries, they are in temperature of 36 degrees of Celsius, around 37 degrees. So in our ඒක තමයි මේ chicks ලව hatch වෙන ideal temperature එක. So that resistant so they will at the same time moist will not bear by the day-old chicks. So this preheating, it prevents the chick mortality due to cold litter and due to cold climate and reduce the ammonia production. At the same time, the anaerobic fermentation. Anaerobic fermentation means once the litter is consisted with moisture, once the fecal matter is contacted with the litter, moisture එක්ක oxygen උත් අඩුයි එතන, fecal matter සුත් තියෙනවා, it is rich in protein as well. Then the anaerobic fermentation can be happen. That means anaerobic fermentation කියන්නේ නිර්වායු පැසීම. හරිද? එතකොට protein නිර්වායු පැසීමට ලක් වුණාන් පස්සේ ammonia can be generated. This ammonia is toxic for our birds. So these things we can avoid by doing preheating. That means we should heat house before 30 hours arrival of the chicks. Chicks ලා එන්න කලින් දවස් 3කට කලින් we should do preheating. කොහොමද මේ preheating කරන්නේ? We should supply heat source. Or we can switch on 100 watt bulbs. Or we can kerosene, put some kerosene oil lamp. Likewise, we can enhance temperature. So after doing all these things, now our house is ready. We can purchase chicks from the hatchery and transport them to our farm. Right? So normally the chicks should be transported early morning or late evening. Why? The environmental temperature at the early morning stage is somewhat high, low. So birds can bear that temperature. If we do it in 12 noon, the temperature is very much high at the afternoon. So birds cannot, the chicks cannot be bear that high temperature. They will be stressed with heat stress, at the same time transportation stress. Transport කරන එකත් ඒගොල්ලන්ට stress එකක් නේ. So ඒ transportation stress එකත් එක්කම heat stress එකත් එනවා. මේ විදිහට අපි දවල් transport කළොත්. At the same time, quick transportation is very much important. We should select a hatchery which is close to our farm. අපේ farm එක කොළඹ තිබිලා hatchery එක පුත්තලම කොහේ හරි තියෙන්න බෑ. මොකද පුත්තලම ඉඳන් මෙහාට chicken day-old chicks ලා එනකොට ඒගොල්ලෝ මැරිලා ඉඳී. So quick transportation is important. We should use chick boxes. These are the chick boxes. When we do transportation, chick boxes should be used. In each box, there 50 day-old chicks can be occupied. And we should not enhance that number. 50ට වඩා දැම්මොත් ඒගොල්ලෝ තෙරපිලා මැරෙනවා. Right? And it is better to keep the boxes horizontally. We should not pile up. තියෙන තරම් තණ්හාවට ඔක්කොම මේ boxes ගොඩාක් අරගෙන එක උඩ තියාගෙන ඉන්න හොඳ නැහැ. It is better to keep horizontally because ventilation problem is not there if we do transportation by keeping these boxes horizontal. So we should select, once we purchasing the day-old chicks, we should select quality day-old chicks. These are the characteristics of quality day-old chicks. The weight of the day-old chick should be more than 38 of grams. And feathers should be dry. I'll show you photos later. No any abnormalities. Navel area should be closed and should not be visible. And navel area should be dry enough as well. So yolk sac should be fully absorbed. Yolk sac means ඒගොල්ලොන් බිත්තරේ තියෙන යෝක් එකෙන් තමයි මේ සත්තු හැදෙන්නේ. එතකොට ඒ යෝක් සැක් එක ඒගොල්ලන්ගේ ඇතුළට absorb වෙලා තියෙන්න ඕනේ. And no any hemorrhages, ලේ පැල්ලම් තියෙන්න බෑ. And red spot, රතු පාට පැල්ලමක් මෙන්න මේ කකුලේ හරි හොටේ හරි කොහෙවත් තියෙන්න බෑ. This red spot indicates bleeding from the nostril. හොටේ තිබ්බොත් එහෙම නහයින් ලේ ඇවිල්ලා කියලා තමයි ඒකෙන් කියවෙන්නේ. ඒකම මෙතන කකුල තිබ්බොත් අන්න එතන එක්කෝ ඩැමේජ් එකක් වෙලා එක්ක තුවාල වෙලා එක්ක හීට් එක වැඩි වෙලා කියලා තමයි තේරුම් ගන්න පුළුවන්. So we don't select such type of day old chicks to our farm because we are going to produce meat from this animal. These animals, we should obtain profit. These abnormal chicks will not give more meat for us, then we will end up with nothing. So quality day-old chick selection is much important to produce more quality meat from the farm. So these are the pictures of quality day-old chicks. If you can, this is the if you can see, this is the navel area. As you can see in here, navel area is not closed and some dung materials are there here. But in here, navel area is closed and this is from quality day-old chicks. If you see this image, the first chick shows very lethargic behavior, කම්මැලි behavior එක තමයි මෙයාගේ තියෙන්නේ, and shows poor vigor. ශක්තියක් තියෙනවා කියලා පේන්නේ නැත. But in here, this is a quality chick, has high vigor and not lethargic. And this is, there is a blood patch in the hock joint. This is hock joint. It indicates overheating or some injury. And this is the bird without dried feathers. So such type of birds we don't select and we should go for this and these fellows. Before day-old chicks arrive. Up until now, if you have any doubt, please ask. මොනවා හරි ප්‍රශ්න තියෙනවද? ඊළඟට අපි කතා කරන්නේ අයගොල්ලන් ආවට පස්සේ මැනේජ් කරන්නේ කොහොමද කියලා. Do you need any clarification? Seems like you don't need any. So you take 10 minute break. මිනිත්තු 10ක් break එකක් ගන්න. ඊට පස්සේ ඉතුරු මේ මැනේජ් ටික කතා කරමු. Okay.
Yes, madam.
Okay, so now up until now we discussed about the management practices. That means what we should do before the day-old chicks arrive for the farm. Now we are going to discuss about the management practices. That means what we should do after day-old chicks arrive. So first thing we have to do is the brooding management. We will see what is this brooding. So simply brooding is the supplement of the external heat required at the initial stages of the chicken. As I mentioned before, in the hatchery there is a 36 to 37 degrees of Celsius. Chicks are in that temperature. So in our farm it is 32 degrees of Celsius, so there is a temperature loss, temperature drop. So that cannot be bad by the day-old chicks. So we have to provide external temperature to avoid the mortalities. Mortalities, they are dying because of that coldness. So that supplementation of the external heat is called as brooding. So normally this brooding period is vary according to the climatic condition. If we do open house farming, according to the climatic condition, it is different. In Noor area or in cold area, we should do brooding for maybe it is more than 3 weeks. But of course, in these areas, Kalambu, Gampaha, and Kurunegala, in such areas, it is not need to brood. Maybe for 3 weeks is not needed. Only 1 week is more than enough, right? So it is depend. It depends on the climatic condition. So there are two types of brooding we can practice. One is natural brooding, and one is artificial brooding. So natural brooding is this. That means the chicken brooding hen will supply the required heat for the chicks. But it is not practical when we do farming. උරතලයට හදන්න නම් ඔන්න ඔය විදිහට කරන්න පුළුවන්. But in the case of farming, we are going to produce meat for entire nation. We are rearing huge number of chickens. සමහර ඔය farms වල large scale farms like Bairaha, Nelna, Prima, like farms, they rear 100,000 day-old chicks. ලක්ෂයක් දෙකක් එකපාර day-old chicks ලව හදනවා ඒගොල්ලෝ. So ඔහොම කට්ටියක්ම brood කරන්න මේ කිකිලිය ඕනේ සෑහෙන්න. So it is not practical. So we do artificial brooding. That means this hen provides external temperature for these chicks. Likewise, these artificial brooders provide the required temperature for our chicks. There are two types of artificial brooders. Flow brooders and battery brooders. We will see what is flow brooder and battery brooder. This is flow brooder. And we switch on some lights and there are day-old chicks. By this light, we are providing the external temperature. In here, this is battery brooder. That means we are utilizing vertical space to keep our day-old chicks and to produce the heat they need. Right? So this is battery brooder. And these are in here also, this type of light is there to provide the external temperature. So in natural brooding, the external temperature. In artificial brooding, some heat source is supplying the external temperature. So let's discuss more about the flow brooding because it is the most common brooder type available in Sri Lanka. So this is the components of the flow brooding. This is heat source at the middle. And this is chick guard. Chick guard means it is a aluminium or zinc or metal sheet. It is called chick guard. And these are waterers. And these are feeders. So these are the components of the flow brooder. I'll show you some photos also. Can you see the photos? See how the brooding is done. See, this is the metal sheet. It is called chick guard. And these are feeders. These are feeders. And these are waterers, the white ones. And heat source is provided at the middle. So this is called flow brooder. This mechanism is to supply the heat required by the day-old chicks. So one by one we will discuss about these components. First of all, the chick guard. Chick guard is very much important to maintain the temperature inside the brooder. This is the chick guard. This is the chick guard. මේ සුදු පාට තහඩුවට තමයි අපි chick guard කියන්නේ. So it is important to maintain the temperature inside the brooder at the same time to hold the day-old chicks. ඒකෙන් තමයි day-old chicks ලා ඒක මැද තියාගන්නේ. නැත්නම් ඒගොල්ලෝ එහෙම දුවනවා. We can use galvanized sheet for this chick guard as well as cardboard sheet, but of course galvanized sheet is more preferable. And the height of this sheet should be 1 to 1.5 feet. උස මේ sheet එකේ 1.5 feet වගේ තියෙන්න ඕන. So floor space at this stage we should give 0.25 square feet per chick. ඒ කියන්නේ day-old chick කෙනෙක්ට 0.25 square feet ඉඩක් අපි දෙන්න ඕන. ඒතර අපි day-old chicks ලා 100ක් ගේනවා නම් 0.25 100ෙන් වැඩි කරලා ඒ එන ස්පේස් එක තමයි දෙන්න ඕනේ සතුට. So the litter at the middle of the chick guard we should cover with the litter, and the litter should be covered with the newspapers as well at the initial stage. At the brooding stage only we do cover the litter with the newspaper. One is to avoid getting damages to the chicks. Litter එකේ තියෙන කැරි බෑලි වලින් chicks වලට damage වෙන එක අඩු කරන්න. The other thing is to prevent the litter eating. The litter එක කන එක වළක්වන්න. That newspapers we are using should replace daily. අද තියෙන newspaper එක නෙමෙයි හෙට තියෙන්න ඕනේ, because වතුර හැලෙනවා, කැම්ප් හැලෙනවා, ජරා කරනවා, ඒ ඔක්කොම වෙන්නේ ඔය පත්තරේ උඩට. So we have to remove them daily and we have to replace them daily. So at the middle I told you there is a heat source. See, heat source. This is the heat source provided in this brooder. So heat source can be either bulbs, kerosene lamp, or charcoal fryer or gas brooder, whatever it is, we can use as a heat source. When you use kerosene lamp or charcoal fryer, important not to cover the top of the brooder. that means මේ room එක එයාලා ඉන්න කූඩුව cover කරන්න හොඳ නැහැ. අපි kerosene lamp එකක් හරි charcoal fire එකක් හරි තිබ්බොත් හේතුව වෙන්නේ මොකද්ද මේ දුම පිරෙනවා. ඒක නිසා ඒගොල්ලන්ට හුස්ම ගන්න බැරි වෙනවා. The animals, birds can't breathe if you keep close your windows and the things. That is why it is said that if you use kerosene lamp or charcoal fire, definitely you should remove the window covers. At the same time, the light source should be started at least 24 hours before chicks are arrived. ඒගොල්ලන් ආප වෙලාව විතරක් දාලා හරියන්නේ නැහැ. ඒක පරිසරයේ මම කිව්වේ preheating. We should do preheating. At least 24 hours before we should start providing the heat. And the chick behavior we should observe. මෙන්න මේ වගේ the chick should be evenly distributed inside the brooder. This type of behavior it shows this type of behavior once they feel cold. ඒගොල්ලන්ට සීතල දැනුනොත් ඒගොල්ලෝ ඔක්කොම එක ගොඩකට එනවා. Under the heat source. Heat source එක ළඟට ඇවිල්ලා මේ විදිහට එකට ගුලි වෙනවා. And if it is too hot, they are moving away from the heat source and getting together near to the chick guard. Chick guard එක ළඟ වෙලා ඉන්නවා මිසක් heat source එක යටට එන්නේ නැහැ. It indicates inside the brooder it is too hot. And this is called draft behavior. That means there are some wind in this side. එක පැත්තකට විතරක් ගුලි වෙන්නේ නැතුව එක පැත්තකට විතරක් වෙලා ඉන්නවා නම් කියන්නේ අනිත් පැත්තේ හුලඟක් තියෙනවා කියන එක. Right? So these are the behaviors of the chicks we have to observe at the brooding stage. So at the arrival of the chicks, after we construct the brooding, we can purchase chicks from the hatchery, and at the arrival, we should provide some medication. After carefully we keep the day-old chicks inside the brooder, we have to provide certain medication. These are the medication we have to provide. One is multivitamin with vitamin K, Vita stress or something, to reduce the transportation stress of the bird. And definitely we should use antibiotics, enrofloxacin, amoxicillin, such type of antibiotics we should use, because these are very little birdies. They don't have immunity to fight against with the pathogens. So we should provide antibiotics to destroy the pathogens if there is any disease condition. At the same time, vitamin E we should provide to avoid the leg abnormalities. If there is some deficiency of vitamin E, definitely leg will be abnormal at the adulting stages. So we should prevent that by providing vitamin E external. And glucose is essential to provide the energy. So those are the drugs we should supply, and we should supply these drugs through water, drinking water. අපි බොන වතුර එකට තමයි මේ drugs දාන්නේ. මේ drugs දාලා හදලා ඒ වතුර එක බොන්න දෙන්නේ for those reasons at the first day. So those are the things we should conduct at the first day. At the first day, we don't give feeds because yolk sac feed is enough for them. In some manufacturers, they recommend to give feed. So if feed manufacturer asks you to give feed, so definitely you should give. Otherwise, no need. So now we'll discuss about the feeding management, how we do feeding for our broiler birds. So there are 3 feed types available. One is broiler starter, other one is broiler finisher, and the last one is the withdrawal feed. At the initial stage, from day 1 to day 25, we are giving starter feed with 22 to 25 amount of protein percentage. That means 22 to 25 percentage amount of protein is there, and energy joule per kilogram 3000 to 3200 energy is there. Broiler starter කියන feed එක තමයි at the initial stages අපි දෙන්නේ from day 1 to day 25. ඒකේ තියෙනවා protein content එක 22ක් 25ක් අතර. Energy ශක්තිය 3200 අතර. So after 25 days, from 26th day onwards, we are giving broiler finisher. It is in pellet form. This is broiler finisher and this is broiler starter. You can see this is in crumble form. This is called crumble and these are pellets. So the crude protein value of the broiler finisher is 18 to 19% and the energy content is 2800 to 3000 energy per kilogram. So those are the feeds majorly we are using, and there is another feed called withdrawal feed. It is not essential to give, but of course if you are using any drug or something to treat your birds, definitely you should use withdrawal feed to avoid the drug residues inside the bird's body. ඒගොල්ලෝ මොකක් හරි drug එකක් පාවිච්චි කරනවා නම් එයා ලෙඩක් හැදිලා ඉඳලා හරි මොකක් හරි වෙලා මොනවාම හරි බෙහෙතක් පාවිච්චි කරනවා නම් අනිවාර්යයෙන්ම මේ withdrawal feed එක දෙන්න ඕනේ. ඒ බෙහෙතේ residues ඇඟේ ඉතුරු වෙන්නේ නැති වෙන්න, because we are preparing food for our nation. ඒකේ chemical residues තියෙන්නට බෑ. පැහැදිලිද? ඒවා අයින් කරන්න තමයි මෙන්න මේ withdrawal feed එක use කරන්නේ. So tell me, think and tell me, why the starter feed is in crumble form, why the finisher feed is in pellet form. Look at the nature of the feed and tell me.
ඒගොල්ලන්ගේ අර මේ digestive system එක පොඩි කාලෙදී මේ digestion එකට ටිකක් අමාරු හින්දා තමයි ඒ වගේ පොඩි වෙලා
Digestion එකට what do you think about the beak size? At the initial stages, they have very little beak. They can't pick large particles. They can pick only very small particles. පොඩි particles ටිකක් තමයි ඒගොල්ලන්ට pick කරගන්න පුළුවන්. Large particles pick කරගන්න බෑ at the initial stage. That is why the starter feed is formulated as crumble form. And in the finisher feed, the birds are grown now. So pellet feed is enough. That means they can consume large particles. So they can be prepared as pellets. That's why. And now tell me, why broiler starter is consisted with high amount of protein and energy? Why the finisher feed is consist with less amount of protein and energy?
ඒගොල්ලෝ වැඩෙන අවධිය හින්දා.
Yes, definitely, very good. Because at the initial stage, the growth rate is very much high. So we should provide more protein and energy at the initial stages. Very good. So these chicken diets, broiler, finisher or starter or anything, consist with grains like corn, wheat, oats, barley and protein supplements such as fish meal, feather meal, poultry bone meal, likewise protein supplements. These grains are energy supplements, and mineral supplements, calcium and the vitamins, and the amino acids. Those are consisted with this poultry feed. These poultry feed are formulated by the poultry feed manufacturers. For an example, Prima, CIC is there, Pusalla is there. They prepare feed according to the chick requirement by utilizing these feed ingredients. So this is regarding the reasons I discussed with you, reasons to supply broiler feed as crumble and pellets. And the withdrawal feed, I told you, I discussed with you. The pharmacy, when you use pharmaceutical additives or the drugs to your birds, definitely you should avoid the residues accumulation in their body, because they are slaughtered and produce meat. Then the meat is also contaminated with that drug residues. To avoid those drug residues, we should give them withdrawal feed. Right? So those are the feed types available for our broilers, and this is the feeding schedule. Feeding schedule means with the manufacturer, by the manufacturer, they are giving how amount of feed we should give for our birds per day. Per day quantity they are giving. That means, in first day, per chick, you should give 10 grams. Then you can multiply by the amount of chicks are there, the per day quantity, and give it to your birds. This is per day quantity, right? ඒ කියන්නේ උදේටයි දවල්ටයි දෙකම ඔයගොල්ලෝ දෙපාරක් ෆීඩ් කරනවා නම් දෙපාරම දෙන්න පුළුවන්නේ ග්‍රෑම් 10ක්. ඒ කියන්නේ උදේ 5යි හවස 5යි. Right? This is per day quantity. You can multiply the per day quantity by the amount of the birds and give them. Those things are there in the feeding schedules. This is designed by the feed manufacturer and give it to you. You just want to follow the instructions given by the feed manufacturer. Right? That is how you should determine the amount of feed. Normally, feed is replaced twice daily. That means you do feeding twice daily. දවසට දෙපාරක්. At the same time, if once you do feeding, උදේ තිබ්බ කෑම තාමත් ඉතුරු වෙලා තියෙනවා නම් ඒක උඩටම කෑම හලන්නේ නැත. ඒ කෑම ටික අයින් කරලා අලුත් කෑම ටික හලන්න ඕනේ. Because that old feed is consisted with molds and the fungi which are toxic for our birds. So to avoid the ingestion of these we should throw away the left feed at the initial feeding stage. පළවෙනියට feed කරපු වෙලාවේ තිබ්බ ඉතුරු feed ටික අපි අයින් කරලා තමයි දෙවෙනි මේ එකට දාන්නේ. So at the initial brooding stage, we can do first 3 days we can do paper feeding. We don't need to provide any feeders. Feeders then අවශ්‍යතාවයක් නැහැ. අර පත්තර දානවා කියලා කිව්වනේ මම flow එකට. අන්න ඒක උඩටම feed දාන්න පුළුවන්. We can put the feed on the newspaper. It is called paper feeding. And after 3 days, we can introduce feeding trays. Round trays. You saw the pictures at the initials. This is the feeding tray. So at the initial stage, we can introduce these feeding trays after 3 days. දවස් 3ක් යනකම් paper feeding කරලා ඊට පස්සේ අපිට feeding trays introduce කරන්න පුළුවන්. After that, feeding troughs can be introduced. And these troughs are enough for one trough is enough for 100 chicks. After they grown, after their height is increased, we can hang the feeders. We can utilize plastic and galvanized round feeders because now they are grown, their height is increased. Then we should hang the feeders and waters. Then such type of plastic or galvanized feeders and waters we can use these types. These types. ඒගොල්ලන්ගේ උස වැඩි වෙන නිසා තමයි අපිට මේවා එල්ලන්න වෙලා තියෙන්නේ. මොකද නැත්තම් ඒගොල්ලන්ට බිමට නැමි නැමි කන්න වෙනවා. They don't like to eat like that. So once you hang the feeders and waters, you should hang them at the back level of the bird. Back level කියලා කියන්නේ කොහෙද back level එක? කුකුලාගේ back level එකටලු මේක එල්ලන්න ඕනේ. What is the back level? This is called back level. This is the back. Clear? This is the back. මේ level එකට තමයි you should hang the feeders and waterers. Right? Otherwise, they will not eat because it is hard. එයාලට බෙල්ල නම නමා කන්න වෙන්නේ. ඒතර ඒගොල්ලෝ කන්නේ නැහැ. Intake is reduced. And these are the space requirement. No need to keep in remember because these are supplier guidelines. මේ feeders හදන කෙනා මේවා දෙනවා. ඒක ඔයගොල්ලෝ කටපාඩම් කරගෙන මේක මතක තියාගන්න උවමනාවක් වෙන්නේ නැත. So these things we can utilize and this amount of space we should provide per each feeders and waters. So that is how we should provide feed for our birds. Now we will discuss about the providing water. Water is very much important and critical. Inadequate water supply can result in reduced feed intake and increase the health issues. Feed intake එක අඩු වෙන්නත් පුළුවන්, health issues වැඩි වෙන්නත් පුළුවන්. වතුර හරියට දුන්නේ නැත්තම්. So poor water consumption is an early indication of some disease. So water consumption එක අඩු වෙගෙන වගේ යනවා නම් it indicates there is some issue, health issue. So water to feed ratio you should measure daily. And how you determine the amount of water you should give. It is said that feed to water ratio should be 1 to 2. That means if you are giving 1 kilograms of feed, you should provide 2 kilograms of water. Right? That is how you determine the quantity of the water you need. And these are the equipments, type of waters you can use to provide water for the animals. Hanging type, bell-shaped waters are there. At the same time, automatic waters are there. Nipple drinkers. Likewise. This is called nipple drinker. Can you see? This is called nipple drinker. Water is coming. This is fully automated. Water is coming. and chicken is going there and drink amount of water she needs. Okay. These are automatic waters and plastic waters. So hanging type, if you are using plastic hanging type waters, you should adjust the waters like we do with the feeders. This is also should adjust according to the back level for the easiness of the birds. And waterers will hang below the black level may cause poor water intake. At the same time, it will reduce the litter quality by splashing the water. අර back level එකට වඩා පල්ලෙහෙන් එල්ලුවොත් වතුර splash වෙලා litter එක තෙත් වෙලා litter quality එක බහිනවා. Right? So it should be care enough to hang the water at the correct level. At the same time, waterers and the feeders should wash every day to prevent the fungal and bacterial growth. And you should dry them after washing. So that is how you should provide the water for your birds. Now we will discuss about all the aspects, how to construct a house and how to do feeding and how to do brooding. And now we will discuss about the record keeping. For the proper understanding of the record keeping, you have to have understanding of mortality. What do you mean by mortality? Simply, it is dead. That means dead birds. The maximum mortality rate we can keep in a broiler farm is 5%. 5% වලට වඩා සතු මැරිලා නම් ඒ farm ඒ batch එකෙන් ඒ flock එකෙන් profit එකක් ගන්න බෑ. 100ක් ඉන්නවා නම් 5යි මැරෙන්න පුළුවන්. So the reasons for these type of mortalities are the stress due to ammonia, energy imbalance, diseases, and the temperature stress, heat stress, and the toxic conditions. So those are the things it causes the mortalities. Right? So we have to avoid such mortalities. And these are the measures we can implement to reduce the mortality. One is constructed well-ventilated house. As I told you, once the house is established, we should select the suitable place. We should consider the ventilation and the inside temperature. And in hot days, it is good to stop feeding at 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. because it is hot. In hot climates from 10 a.m. onwards up until 4 or 5 p.m. It's very hot. So heat stress will be there. So අපි ඒ වෙලාවෙම කන්නක් දුන්නොත් එහෙම වෙන්නේ ඒගොල්ලන්ට heat එක දරා ගන්න බැරුව මැරෙනවා. So we have to provide ad libitum water and we should do proper brooding management because at the brooding stage it is essential. That means it is very common to die animals, to die the birds frequently. And at the correct spacing we should provide for our birds. At the same time, biosecurity measures, that means the measures we can get against from the disease causing pathogens. Disease causing pathogens ලා අපේ farm එකට එනකොට වළක්වන්න ගන්න ඕනම ක්‍රියාමාර්ගයකට තමයි අපි කියන්නේ biosecurity measure එකක් කියලා. Right? So we can enhance the biosecurity measures to avoid the disease conditions. So this is how we should manage the broilers and produce meat. Now your broilers are growing up. Now you have to slaughter the animal and produce meat. So I'll discuss it with you later. Now tell me if there is any doubt you can ask. මොනවාම හරි ප්‍රශ්නයක් තියෙනවා නම් දැන් අහන්න මේක. Because we are moving to discuss the slaughtering of the broilers. තේරුණාද ඔයාලට? Can anybody tell me? Can anybody speak?
It's clear, madam.
Okay. Now we will move to slaughtering of the broilers. That means we are going to produce meat. Okay, so let's discuss about the broiler slaughtering, how we do slaughtering and how we produce the quality meat, quality chicken from the live birds. So there are some steps we should follow. These are the procedure and these are the steps. First, we should do starvation. We should keep our birds in hunger. Then we should do antemortem inspection. I am discussing with these steps in one by one with you. This is just to introduce the procedure. So then the transportation and then do stunning. Stunning means make the birds unconscious. සිහිය නැති කරනවා. So after doing stunning, of course we do slaughtering. Bleeding means we cut the neck. And then scalding, we dip the carcasses in hot water. And then defeathering, we remove the feathers. Then the evisceration. Evisceration means we pull out all the gut content. බඩවැල් අනම් මනම් ඔක්කොම එළියට අදිනවා. And cleaning. And then do the postmortem inspection. පසු මරණ පරීක්ෂාව we do. Then the washing and chilling. Then weighing, බරමනිනවා, packaging and freezing. So those are the steps we have to follow when we produce meat from the broilers. First, we will move to the first step, starvation. That in here, we are keeping the birds in hunger, right? We are keeping the birds in hunger first period to empty their gut content and to reduce the feed wastage. That means if we do feeding for them, once they are slaughtered, their gut is filled with feed. අපි බඩවැල් ඔක්කොම එළියට අදිනවනේ. එතකොට ඒ බඩවැල් ඔක්කොම feed වලින් පිරීලා තියෙනවා. අපි ඒගොල්ලන්ගේ බඩගින්නේ තිබ්බේ නැත්තම්. It will create carcass contamination. ඒ feed වලින් carcass එක contamination වෙන්න පුළුවන්. chicken එක contaminate වෙන්න පුළුවන්. At the same time, it is wasting. Because chicken doesn't have time to digest that feed and to acquire nutrient from that feed. Feed එක digest කරලා nutrition ගන්න තරම් වෙලාවක් නැහැ. So it is wasting. So the starvation is important. Keep remember, we do only stopping feed. That means we only stop feeding. But of course, we have to provide water for them. හරිද? කෑමයි වතුරයි නවත්තනවා නෙමෙයි. Only feeding is stopped. After starvation, we do antemortem inspection. Antemortem inspection is essential to screen the diseased birds because we are producing meat from a live bird. That means that meat means food for our birds, food for our people. So it should be safe to consume. There are some diseases called zoonotic diseases. Those zoonotic diseases can zoonotic disease කියන්නේ සත්තුන්ගෙන් මිනිස්සුන්ට transmit වෙන්න පුළුවන් diseases තියෙනවා. For an example, salmonellosis, avian influenza can be transmitted from this chicken to human. සල්මොනෙල්ලා හරි මොනවාද ඒවියන් ඉන්ෆ්ලුවෙන්සා හරි හැදිච්ච සතෙක්ගේ මස් වලින් ඒක මනුස්සයාට බෝ වෙන්න පුළුවන්. To avoid such type of pathetic situation, we should screen our birds before we do slaughtering. How we should screen? By looking at the disease symptoms at the initial stage. That is what we are doing in the antemortem inspection. So in antemortem inspection, basically we do external examination. We look at the physical appearance of the birds and determine whether this bird is diseased bird or not. External appearance එක බලලා මෙයා ලෙඩ වෙච්ච සතෙක්ද නැද්ද කියලා අඳුර ගන්න පුළුවන්. Right? So these are the characteristics we are looking for. Whether the hemorrhages are there, whether the large bones are there, whether there are any ammonia burnings. Ammonia burnings means ammonia වලට ඒගොල්ලෝ හැම වෙනවා. So we are looking at that. And the hemorrhages means lepalla. And whether the feathers of this bird is dirty and how is behaving. Isolated නැද්ද? If there is bruises, කැලිලා තිච්ච තැන් තියනවාද? Nodules තියනවාද? Nodules means ගෙඩි. පැපොල වගේ හැදෙනකොට අර හැදෙන චුචුටි ගෙඩි. So those are called nodules. And skin lesions. මේ මොනවා හරි පැල්ලම් තියනවාද? So those type of things. If there is any leg abnormality, any abnormality in beak. So those things we are looking for to identify the disease symptoms. Once these disease symptoms have been identified, they are not slaughtered and produce meat. So that is why antemortem inspection is very much important to ensure the safety of the meat. After conducting the antemortem inspection, birds can be transported to the slaughterhouse. So transportation should be conducted at the early stage, early morning or late evening or in night to avoid the heat stress for the birds. Otherwise, they will stress and do cannibalism. Do fightings. Once they fight, ඒගොල්ලෝ ෆයිට් කරගන්නකොට තුවාල වෙනවා. තුවාල වුණාට පස්සේ carcass quality එක reduce වෙනවා. To avoid such type of things, we do transportation at the early morning and late evening, and definitely these type of plastic crates we should use once we transport our chicks. Right? It will reduce the physical damages occur to our birds. At the same time, it will reduce the damages occurred due to cannibalism. So this box should be only 12 birds can occupy in one box. This is called plastic crate. Per crate, we can occupy only 12 birds. More than 12 birds means there will be fights. මොකද ඒගොල්ලෝ එක ගොඩේ ඉන්නකොට ඒගොල්ලන්ට තරහ යනවා. එතකොට fight කරනවා. Once they are fighting, definitely carcass quality will reduce because of the wounds and the bruises they get. Bruises means tally. So after transportation, now the things are ready to slaughter the birds. Before they have been slaughtered, stunning can be practiced. But of course, in Sri Lanka, this is not common, stunning a step, but there is a step. So we should do stunning prior to killing. It is humane slaughter method. At the same time, avoid carcass abnormalities by flapping of the birds. What do you mean by flapping? මේ ස්ටනින් කියන එක නොකර අපි කෙලින්ම මෙයාගේ බෙල්ල කපලා ඉවර වෙලා එයාව ස්ලෝටර් කරොත් එහෙම එයා තටු ගහනවා. ඔයගොල්ලෝ දැකලා ඇති. තටු ගහනවා ලේ යන ගම යනකොටම එයා තටු ගහනවා. එතකොට එයාගේ අර වින්ග්ස් බෝන් එක කැඩෙනවා. වින්ග්ස් වල තියෙන බෝන් එක කැඩෙනවා. ඔයගොල්ලෝ සමහර කුකුල් මස් ගන්නකොට දැකලා ඇති breakage of the wing bone. wing bone එක කැඩලා තියෙනවා. ඒ හේතුව එයාලා flap කරනවා. It is called flapping. හරිද? That can be avoided when we do stunning. මොකද එයා unconscious නේ. Stunning means make the bird unconscious. එයා unconscious ඉන්න නිසා they can't flap. So how we do unconscious? By we can do stunning by hanging the by contacting the birds with the water with electrical charge. Right? Electrical charge එකක් තියෙන මේ වතුර එකක් through යවුවට පස්සේ මේ සතුන්ව they are stunned. Right? That water should be considered with 1% sodium chloride to supply ions, and then electric shock can be provided for that water. Right? So that is how we do stunning for our birds. After doing a stunning, we do bleeding. The jugular vein of the birds can cut at the second cervical vertebrae. බෙල්ලේ තියෙන දෙවෙනි කශේරුකාව ළඟින් jugular vein එක කපලා තමයි අපි මේගොල්ලන්ව slaughter කරන්නේ. So it is called bleeding. We should keep upside down the carcass like this for 3 minutes to reduce all the most of the blood content inside the carcass, because blood provides nice media for microbial growth. We should avoid the microbial growth to avoid the spoilage of the meat. So definitely we have to give 3 minutes for bleeding to reduce to reduce all the blood content from the carcass. After conducting the bleeding step, the next one is the scalding. That means the carcass should be dipped in hot water. There are 3 time temperature combination for this step. For the chicken, we do semi scalding. That means water temperature should be in between 50 to 53, and we do dipping from in between 60 to 180 seconds. ඒ කියන්නේ අපි මේ carcass එක dip කරලා තියන්න ඕනි උණු වතුරේ. ඇයි ඒ? To make easier for defeathering, to make soft to make the feather follicle soft. Feathers තියනවා තාම. එතකොට ඔය feathers ටික remove කරගන්න feather follicle soft එකට තියාගන්න. For soft එකට ගන්න ඒක එතකොට remove කරන්න ලේසි. ඒක නිසා තමයි අපි මේ scalding එක කරන්නේ ප්‍රධාන වශයෙන්. There are 3 schemes of scalding. Actually, this is the time temperature combinations. For the chickens, we are using this soft or semi-scalding scheme, where the water temperature we should maintain in between 50 to 53, and time we should do the scalding is in between 60 to 180 seconds. Right? This scalding provides partial pasteurization also, because we are maintaining somewhat high temperature. So we dip the carcass for this time duration. we dip the carcass in this hot water, then some kind of pathogenic bacteria can be died because of the temperature. So it is called partial pasteurization. At the same time, you should make sure not to increase this temperature, because the carcass will be boiled. ආය මසල උයන්න දෙයක් ඉතුරු වෙන්නේ නැහැ. මේක ටෙම්පරේචර් එක වැඩි වුණොත් අනිවාර්යයෙන්ම මේ කාකස් එක තැම්බෙනවා. Carcass means the dead body of the chicken. මේක තැම්බෙනවා. So you have to maintain these values carefully. After scalding, you can do defeathering, because with the hot water, the feather follicle has been softened. So very easily, feathers can be removed. In large scale broiler producers, they are using this type of defeathering machines. These type of rotating discs with rubber fingers are there. මේ වගේ මේ කැරකෙන rubber fingers තියෙනවා. ගොඩක් තියෙනවා. ඔයගලන්ට පේනවා නම් මේ මෙතන එහෙම ගොඩක් තියෙනවා. So carcass are moving in between these two rows of rotating discs. So then very easily feathers have been removed. After removal of the feathers, evisceration is done. Evisceration means removal of the gut content, unedible content, because that gut is rich in microbes and dirt materials. We have to remove them to avoid the spoilage. In the evisceration step, we do that. After doing evisceration, the post-mortem inspection can be practiced. We did antemortem inspection for it is only an external examination. But of course, we can't see the internal organs, how the internal organs are there, and whether there are any hidden disease conditions which we cannot be identified externally. Right? For those things, we should do post-mortem inspection. We should clearly examine the carcass inside and outside, and organs, especially heart, liver, whether heart is swelled, whether liver is consistent with nodules or something, whether there is any color change of the liver, whether there is any fatty liver condition. Likewise, we can observe whether there is any disease symptom, right, to the post-mortem. So it is done by a trained, skilled person to identification of the disease symptom. And after conducting the post-mortem inspection, we do washing and chilling. Washing can be done with chlorinated water. It will reduce the available microbial count. Microbes la pramane adu karanawa after washing. And chilling means we reduce the carcass temperature below 10 degrees of Celsius, and we maintain it in between 10 and 4 degrees of Celsius. It is called chill temperature. Right? How we reduce this temperature? We dip the carcass in the ice bath. This is the ice bath. This is called chiller tank. In commercial broiler processors, they have chillers. So this type of chillers, once the carcass is dipped in the ice bath, the temperature of the carcass is drastically reduced in between chill temperature. It is very much important to maintain the microbial, to inhibit the microbial growth, because in the chill temperature, microbes can't grow. Still microbial population is there, but it is not increased once we do chilling. Clear? That means අපි fridge එකේ තියන්නේ කෑම. අන්න එහෙම කෑම fridge එකේ තියනකොට නරක වෙන්නේ නැහැ ටික දවසක් යනකම්. ඒ වෙන්නේ microbes are still there, but they can't grow because of the low temperature. Here also same. microbes are still there, but they can't grow because of the low temperature. Right? So that is why we do chilling. This is the picture of the chiller tank. This is consisted with ice and iced water, and carcass are dipped in here, and we do chilling like that. After chilling, the weighing is done. It determines how much meat we produce. After that, we do grading according to the weights. These are jumbo chicken and these are small chicken. Likewise, we do grading after weighing. Then we do packaging, vacuum packaging back. After that, freezing is done. After packaging, freezing is done. We do freezing minus 30 degrees of Celsius for 24 hours. Minus 30 degrees of Celsius is essential to destroy, to kill the available microbes. අර chiller tank එකකින් උනේ microbes ලව grow කරන්න නැතුව තියාගත්ත එක. මෙතනදි වෙන්නේ they have been destroyed. That means we kill the microbes with this low temperature. It is called, normally in industry, they are using blast freezers. They cool suddenly, they drop suddenly. By using blast freezing, they drop, the temperature is dropped suddenly, quickly into minus 30 degrees of Celsius. Within 24 hours, the temperature should be dropped. That is how the chicken should be made. So this is the end of the slaughtering, and now you know how to rear the broilers. What are the things we should do to rearing, and how to feed them, how to give the water for them. Such type of things you know. If you need, after that, at the correct age, you know how to slaughter them and produce meat. What are the steps of slaughtering and what are the things you should know once you do slaughtering. So tell me if you need any doubts or if you need any clarification regarding these things, please tell me now. Please ask me now. Because this is the end of the broiler management. Now we have to start with layer management. පැහැදිලිද කතා කරපු දේවල්? Can somebody speak please? තේරුණාද නැද්ද?
Clear, ma'am.
Okay. Okay, you don't need any clarification regarding these things, you know. Clear for all of you. Okay, then we will move to the commercial layer management. There is a question like, yes, miss. Okay, thank you. Okay, so you know how to produce meat from broilers. Now you are going to learn how to produce eggs. What we should do to produce egg from the layers. You know who are layer. Layer is the bird we are keeping eggs. So in definition, the layer is chicken who is reared for table eggs, dietary eggs, production. Those layers are called as commercial layers. These are the available commercial layers: shaver brown, highline white, highline brown, Isa brown, and Isa white. So those are the available commercial layer strain we can rear. Right? So this is the production cycle of the layer from like we did in the broiler management. We can purchase they are chicks from the hatchery. We do brooding from day 1 to 8 weeks. That means 2 months. We do brooding, unlike in broilers. After that, it is after brooding, they are rearing as they are reared as growers. Growing stage is there from 8 weeks to 18 weeks. මේ කාලේ ඒගොල්ලෝ growing stage එක කියලා තමයි අපි සලකන්නේ. After 18 weeks only, they are starting to lay eggs because after 18 weeks, their sexual maturation is taken place. මෙතනදී අපි layer management වලට ගන්නේ කිකිලියෝ විතරයි. broilers ලට නම් අපි either sex කියලා කිව්වනේ. පිරිමි වුණත් ගැහැණි වුණත් ප්‍රශ්නයක් නැහැ. But in here we take only female birds because ඒගොල්ලෝ තමයි විතර දාන්නේ. පිරිමි කටේ විතර දාන්නේ නැහැ. කිකිලිට බිත්තරේ දාන්න පිරිමි සතෙක් ඕනෙත් නැහැ. අපි බලමු එයි කියලා. ඒක නිසා සති 18 දී ඒගොල්ලෝ sexual maturity stage එකට එනවා. After sexual maturation, they start to lay eggs. After 18 weeks. We are keeping them up until 72 weeks. Right? We are keeping them up until 72 weeks. And the production cycle is the length of the whole production cycle is 72 weeks. Right? So there are separate management practices we have to conduct in each stage. Now we will discuss one by one. So there are 2 types of housing system. When we construct housing for that, the same theories we are going to practice. Site selection and roofs, walls, and the things almost same. So there are 2 types of housing systems are there. One is deep litter system. We discussed it in the broiler management as well. Normal broiler එකේදී හදපු house එක වගේම තමයි. We can rear the birds on the litter. And this is new. We can't keep broilers in the cages, but in here we can keep layers in the cages. This is cage system. Right? So it is very confined environment is there. Separate place is there to collect the eggs, and feeder line is here. We can put feeds in here and they will eat. And eggs are rolled in front of the cage, and egg collectors will go here and there and collect all these eggs. This is very confined environment and very easy to manage. Right? This is called battery cages. And very limited movement is there. The layer can't move. Only she can stand up and sit and eat. Waterers are also there inside the cages by providing nipple drinkers. So that is how the battery cage system is operated. So these are the advantages and disadvantages. So advantages, compare with the comparison of the advantages of litter system and the cage system. So first one is birds are free and have a space in litter system. Yes, of course. Birds are very much free. We don't restrict the movement like in the battery cages. And investment is also low because we don't need to construct more complex structure. And it is very much helpful in hot climate because ventilation is there. We don't utilize vertical space like this. මේ vertical space එකනේ utilize කරලා තියන්නේ. උඩට උඩටනේ ගිහිල්ලා තියන්නේ. We don't utilize vertical space like this in hot climates. So disease transmission is also controlled in the deep litter system house because we don't overcrowd in the deep litter system. But in the cage system, egg production is high and mortality is less because it is confined environment, and can obtain clean eggs definitely because there are separate place to collect the eggs. They don't contact with litter material and the dirt material. And very clean environment. No need of nest boxes. I'll discuss with you what is this nest boxes. And protection for the bird is very high at the cage system. And we can obtain dung material separately with the cage system, and we can produce poultry manure as a fertilizer. It is another income source for our farm. So this is the floor space requirement. So this is the in this these two housing systems. The litter system is common in smaller scale, and cage system is somewhat common in larger scale. So let's discuss about the small scale litter system. So this is how we have to provide a space. From 4th week to 8th week, 1 square feet per bird we should give. From 8th week to 16th week, that means the growing stage, we should provide 1.5 square feet to 1.5 square feet per bird we should provide in the growing stage. From 16 week onwards, that means in the stage, we should provide 2 to 2.25 square feet per bird. මතක ඇති ඔයගලන්ට broilers ලට දුන්නේ අඩියයි. අන්තිම කාලේ හැබැයි මේගොල්ලන්ට අඩි දෙකක් දෙකමාරක් අතර දෙනවා. පැහැදිලිද? So that is how you should give the space. So there are some several specific equipments used in the layer house, especially not in the broiler house. We could observe these things, but in the layer house we should give feeders and waterers. Of course, we discuss them with broilers, so no need to discuss more because those are same. And brooding and the chick, those things are also same. Only different structure we can observe in here is the nest boxes. These are nest boxes. We should give them, we should provide them in order to enhance the quality of the eggs. We should provide clean eggs for our people. To provide clean eggs, we are giving nest boxes. In the poultry cages. So this nest box should be introduced at the 16 weeks of age. I told you after sexual maturation at the 18th week, they start laying eggs. So we should introduce nest box at the 16 weeks of age. That nest box should be roomy, movable, cool and ventilated. At the same time, evenly located. This, by providing this type of nest boxes, we can avoid egg contact with litter material and the dirt. At the same time, we can avoid the cage. Egg පුළුවන්. පොඩි පැදිච්ච පොඩි hairline cracks අයින් කරන්න පුළුවන්. So both wood and plastic we can use to produce these type of nest boxes, and one nest box is enough for 4 to 6 birds. Suppose if you have 100 amount of layers, of course you should provide 25 nest box for the poultry cage. At the same time, the nest box should be consistent with litter material. So the feeders you can use. This is about the nest box, and then the other structures or the equipments in the housing is the feeders and waterers. Of course, these are also same like you did in the broiler management. Initial stage you use feeding trays, and then hanging type round shape feeders and waterers you can use, and the hanging should be done at the back level, and you should follow the manufacturer regulation. When you use these type of feeders and waterers, they are giving instructions. This feeder is enough for this amount of birds. Then make a කියලා තියෙන 4 to 6 8 weeks of age වලදී අපි diameter එක 12 16 අතර අඟල් 12 16 අතර තියෙන round shape feeder එකක් පාවිච්චි කරනවා birds ලා 75කට. මේ birds ලා ගාන manufacturer කියලා තියෙන්නේ. So you just have to follow the instructions. So likewise you can do feeding. This is how the feeders are hanging and the feeds are giving for them. So these are the feed types available for the layers. First one is layer started. We are giving at the initial stage of the layer. It is in crumble form and consisted with 22% of protein and 2,800 joules per kilogram. As you said before, the protein and the energy content is high at the initial stage because they are growing. Growth rate is high at the little stage. So layer grower is the next one. We are giving this layer grower at the growing stage of their life cycle from 8 weeks to 18 weeks. It is in pellet form. And look at the food protein value and the energy value. It is the least amount of food protein and the energy you can identify in the poultry feed. Why is that? Can you tell me? I make a protein we make growing stage still. I make a අඩු වෙලා තියෙන්නේ protein value එකයි energy value එකයි. Tim can tell me.
ඒගොල්ලන්ගේ දැන් growth එක සිද්ධ වෙලා තියෙන්නේ.
No. Think about the egg production. In growing stage, now they are reaching to sexual maturation. If you do feeding high energy diet, fat content in their body will be increased. They become infertile. Once they become infertile, can they produce eggs? Because egg is an ova. කුකුළු හදන ඩිම්බසයිලයටනේ අපි බිත්තරේ කියන්නේ. So it is an ova. එක ඩිම්බසයිලය. The ovum production is greatly affected by the fat content. We can't keep our birds fat. Otherwise, they will be infertile. Once they are infertile, no more eggs. That is why in grower stage, in grower feed, they use very little amount of protein and energy content in the feed. So in the laying stage, we have to supply little bit nutrition, more nutrition at the laying stage. So that's why we are giving 18% and 2,700 joule per kilogram for the birds to facilitate laying. So these are the things you should know regarding the feed types. And now we'll discuss one by one. I discuss most of the facts with you now. This is just to rush. And chick required at the initial stage, you told me they required high amount of nutrition because their growth rate is high. Obviously, it's true. So that's why we are giving high amount of energy and protein there. It is important to give vitamins and minerals required for growth and development at the initial stages. For the growth, of course, we should limit the protein value and the energy to make the hens healthy without depositing excess fat, because depositing excess fat means it reduces the ovum production. That means sexual maturity will delay because of the obesity. So then we can't produce eggs. So that's why grower feed has lower energy and protein value. In this growing stage feeding restriction, because we can't make our hens obese. Obese means mahata karanna bad. We should keep them fit, not fat, right? So this obesity leads to poor egg production, and we can reduce this obesity by restricting the feed. It is called restricted feeding. This feed restriction can be done by reducing the feed intake up to 85 to 90 level. 85යි 90යි අපි කවන්නේ. එහෙමත් නැත්නම් we can reduce the quality. That means we can reduce the nutrition profile, and we can add low quality feed into high quality feed to reduce the nutrition availability. In these two ways, we can reduce the amount of feed or the quality of the feed in restriction feeding. Restriction feeding is important to make the hens healthy. After growing stage, layer feeding should be done. That means at the laying stage, they are starting to produce eggs. So that is why we increase the protein and energy value somewhat in the laying feed. But of course, make sure there is a calcium loss. That means once they produce eggs, the calcium loss will be there, because calcium is essential to produce the eggshell. බිත්තර කට්ට හදන්න calcium ඕනේ. ඒ calcium ගන්න ඒ සතාගේ ඇඟේ. So we should provide calcium. This calcium supplementation is called as grit feeding, because those calcium is called as grits. So it is called as grid feeding, and we can use this type of shells, she shells, sand and pebbles. We can use as this shell grids. It is to supply the calcium required for the eggshell production. This calcium is given as shell grids in these amounts. At the early stage of laying, we can give 5 grams of grids per bird per day. At the last stages of laying, we can give 10 to 12 grams of grids per bird per day. That is how we should provide grids. And these shell grids can be mixed with the feed or can be feed separately. That means අපි අර කෑම එකත් එක්ක ඒගොල්ලන්ට දෙනකොට ඒක අනලා දෙන්න පුළුවන්. එහෙම නැත්නම් shell grids විතරක් feeder එකක දාලා ඒක එල්ලලා තියන්න පුළුවන්. එතකොට කුකුළු ගිහිල්ලා ඒක කනවා. Right? That is how we should provide calcium supplement or the grids to our birds. If you need any doubt, if you have any doubt, if you need any clarification regarding this, please ask now. Feeding management of the layers.
Madam,
Yes.
what is mean of grids? GRITS.
Yeah, grid means this.
Oh, okay. I got it, madam. Thank you.
Anybody need any clarification?
Madam, සංසේචිත
Yes.
වික්ටර් වලින් විතරයිද පැටව් වෙන්නේ?
මොකද?
කුකුළු පැටව් එන්නේ මේ සංසේචිත වික්ටර් වලින් විතරයිද නැත්නම්?
Yes. ඒක කරනවා පුතේ පස්සේ. තව ඉස්සරහට ස්ලයිඩ්ස් තියෙනවා ඒකට. එතකොට කියලා දෙන්න. කොහොමත් ෆර්ටයිල් එග්ස් වලින් විතරයි එන්නේ. හැම වෙලේම එග් එකක් ෆර්ටයිල් වෙන්නේ නැහැ. පිරිමි සතා හිටියේ නැත්නම් ඒ ෆ්ලොක් එක ඇතුලේ බිතරේ ෆර්ටයිල් වෙන්නේ නැහැනේ. ස්පර්ම්ස් යන්නේ නැහැනේ කිකිලිගේ ට්‍රැක්ට් එක ඇතුළට. ඒක නිසා හැම වෙලේම බිත්තරේ ෆර්ටයිල් වෙන්නේ නැහැ. ඒකට දැන් ඔය අපි කන ෆාම් බිත්තර ෆර්ටයිල් වෙලා නැහැ. පැහැදිලිද?
Madam, what do you mean by pebbles?
Pebbles, sand and pebbles. වැලි කැට වගේ.
මැඩම් මේ ලේයර්ස් ලගේ මේ ප්‍රෝටීනුයි කැලරි ඉන්ටේක් එකයි අඩු වෙන්නේ. යාලා දැන් අර වැඩිලා ඉවර හින්දා ඒගොල්ලන්ගේ සෙක්ෂුවල් මැචුරිටි එක වෙලා හින්දාද?
Layers ලා කියන්නේ third stage එකේද? නැත්නම්
දැන්
මේක නේද?
ඔව්.
Oh yes. මේ කාලේ යාගේ growth rate එකක් ඇති වෙන්නේ නැහැ. sexual maturity එකෙන් පස්සේ ලොකුවට ඒගොල්ලෝ grow වෙන්නේ නැහැ. මේ ඊට වඩා වැඩි කරලා තියෙන්නේ ඒගොල්ලෝ බිත්තර හදන නිසා. පැහැදිලිද? මොකද බිත්තරේ කියන්නේ rich in protein. The eggs are going out of the body. ඒ protein shed වෙනවනේ. බිත්තර දාන සැරේට එයාගේ ඇඟෙන් එළියට යනවා protein. ඒතකොට we should provide. Clear for you?
Yes, madam.
Any questions? Any clarification you need? තේරුණාද කරපු ටික? තේරුණෙත් නැද්ද? Can somebody speak, please?
Yeah, it is understood. Thank you.
Okay. Let's move to the next topic. We finished the feeding of the layers. Now, it's very much important, lighting management. We didn't discuss this lighting management in broilers much because it is not very much important in broilers. But of course, for the lighting management in layer is very much important because the sexual overproduction, sexual maturation and the overproduction is greatly affected by this light. Right? The reproduction, you know, it is hormone-based mechanism. Reproductive hormones, number of reproductive hormones are involved in this reproduction mechanism, and this light can influence this hormone secretion and hormone stimulation to produce the ova. light කියන එකෙන් මොකද light කියන එක ප්‍රතිග්‍රහණය කරන්නේ hypothalamus එට ප්‍රතිග්‍රහණය කරගත්තට පස්සේ ඇහෙන් signal එක hypothalamus එකට යනවා. hypothalamus එකෙන් තමයි ඉතුරු hormones ස්‍රාවය කරන එක ඔක්කොම රඳා පවතින්නේ. Right? So the lighting management is very much important when once we going to produce egg from the layers. Right? In here, we have to manage wavelength, intensity, and lightning speed. This is how we should manage. Look at this. From first week onwards, we are giving 20 hours lightning, and we do reducing the lightning period at the brooding stage from 20 to 10 hours. 20 ඉඳන් 10 වෙනකන් අඩු කරගෙන යනවා. So at the growing stage from 8 to 16 weeks, sorry, 18 weeks, we maintain 10 hours lightning period. At the laying stage onwards, from the 18 weeks of age, continually the lightning hours is increased from 10 to 16 hours. Right? At the 30th weeks of age, the සති 30 වෙනකොට වයස, we should maintain 16 hours lightning period. From 30 weeks onwards up until 72 weeks, we maintain 16 hours lightning period. This lightning management is important to manipulate their ovum production. That means egg production. That is how we should manage. Clear? මේ විදිහට තමයි lightning manage කරන්නේ. පළවෙනි brooding stage එකේදී සති 20ක් දෙන්න ඕනේ. sorry, පැය 20ක් දෙන්න ඕනි. ඒක අඩු කරගෙන යනවා අපි brooding stage එක ඉවර වෙනකොට පැය 10 වෙනකම්. ඊට පස්සේ growing stage එකේදී පැය 10මයි maintain කරන්නේ. ආපහු laying stage එකේදී ඒක වැඩි කරනවා පැය 16 වෙනකම් ක්‍රමක්‍රමයෙන් step by step. Up until 30 weeks of age. From 30 weeks onward to 72 weeks, we are maintaining 16 hours lightning period. Clear? That is how we maintain, we manage light in layer management to optimize the ovum production or the egg production. So now we are going to discuss the formation of eggs. To determine to learn the formation of egg, you have to have an idea about the structure of the egg. So this is the structure of the egg. So these are the major parts of the egg. This is the cross section of the egg. The outermost layer is the eggshell, you know. Where's the shell? This is eggshell. It is consistent with what? බිත්තර කට හැදලා තියෙන්නේ මොකෙන්ද? දන්නේ නැද්ද කවුරුවත් බිත්තර කට්ටේ මොනවද තියෙන්නේ? Yeah,
Calcium.
it is, calcium carbonate. So it is rich in calcium carbonate. So after eggshell, there is shell membrane. Okay. After eggshell, there is shell membrane. ඔගොල්ලෝ දැකලා තියෙනව නේද ටිකක් අර බිත්තර තම්බනකොට එහෙම සිවියක් වගේ එකක් තියෙනවා. It is called shell membrane. So the egg inside the egg content are surrounded by this shell membrane. There are two thin shell membrane, inner shell membrane and outer shell membrane. There are two types of shell membranes, inner shell membrane and outer shell membrane. So those shell membranes are important to hold the albumin and the yolk. So this is the chalaza. Chalaza help to keep the yolk in between at the middle of the egg. This is the yolk. It is the most obvious part of the egg, and it is in yellow color. And it is the place where day-old chicks is formed. මේක තමයි day-old chick හැදෙන්නේ yolk එක. And after yolk, this is thick albumin, and outermost albumin layer is called as thin albumin. It is rich with protein. Albumin is protein. So those are the major. This is germinal disc in the yolk. මෙන්න මේ germinal disc එකෙන් තමයි පැටියා හැදෙන්න පටන් ගන්න. The place where the chick formation is started. So those are the egg component or the parts of the eggs. So we'll discuss about now you know what are the parts of the egg. Now we will discuss about the formation, how the egg is formed in the reproductive tract of the female hen. So this is the reproductive tract of the female hen. It is consisted with two parts. One is ovary, another one is oviduct. This is ovary and this is oviduct. The ovary is the place where ova is produced. Oviduct is consisted with three sections. We'll see what are those sections. So one is magnum, this is ovary, and this is oviduct. And oviduct is consisted with several parts. One is infundibulum, magnum, isthmus, shell gland, here the shell gland, and vagina. So those are the parts of the oviduct. Now let's discuss how the egg is formed inside this reproductive tract. So ovary, in this ovary, yolks are produced. These are the ova are produced. And the developed ova is released and captured by the infundibulum of the oviduct. මෙතනින් ඕවා ඩෙවලොප් වෙනකන් තියාගෙන ඉඳලා ඩෙවලොප් වෙච්ච ඕවා එක රිලීස් කරනවා. රිලීස් වෙච්ච ගමන්ම infundibulum එක capture කරනවා. Once the ova is captured, if the infundibulum has a stored sperm, they has capacity, these hens has capacity to store the sperm. ඒගොල්ලන් sexually breed කරලා පිරිමි සතෙක් එක්ක after copulation the male animal can release the sperms into the reproductive tract of the female. Then female can has the ability to store the sperms in the infundibulum. Once the egg is reached to this infundibulum, then the fertilization is taken place if there is stored sperms. ස්ටෝර් කරපු ස්පර්ම්ස් තිබ්බොත් ෆර්ටිලයිසේෂන් වෙනවා. හැබැයි පිරිමි සතෙකුත් නැතුව ස්පර්ම්ස් උත් ස්ටෝර් වෙලා නැත්නම් only fertilization කවුරු මගෙන් ප්‍රශ්නයක් අහුවා නේද? උත්තරේ හම්බුණාද? එයාට පොඩ්ඩක් කතා කරන්න පුළුවන්ද? ඔයාට උත්තරේ හම්බුණාද? ඔයා අහපු ප්‍රශ්නෙට උත්තරේද මම දුන්නේ?
Yes, madam. තේරුණා.
Okay. So after capturing the ova, if there's no any fertilization taken place, or if there is fertilization taken place, the ova is moving to the magnum. From this magnum part, albumin is secreted. Can you see? මෙතෙන්ට එනකොට කහ පාට විතරයි. මෙතෙන්ට එනකොට පොඩ සුදු පාටයි. So the albumin is secreted. After that, after secretion of the albumin, the egg is passed to the isthmus. In the isthmus place, the shell membranes are added. After that, it is passed to the shell gland. So the eggshell formation is there. Calcium carbonate is secreted and shell is formed. So that is how egg is produced. Egg is formed inside the reproductive tract of the hen. Clear for you all? After formation of the eggshell, the egg is released to the outer environment through the vent.
Excuse me, madam.
Oh, yeah.
මේ කොටස් ටිකට දර කෘකාටය තුම්බිකාව කුම්බිකාව එහෙම කියන්නේ.
සිංහල නම් මන් දන්නේ නැහැ. ඔයගොල්ලන්ට A levels වලට තිබ්බද?
කලින් සිලබස් එකේ තිබ්බා අපිට තිබුණේ නැහැ.
සිංහල නම් මම දන්නේ නැහැ පුතා. ඇත්තටම මට සිංහල වචන ෆැමිලියර් නැහැ. මම මේවා සිංහලෙන් ඉගෙනගෙන නැහැ. මම බලලා කියන්නම් මම කෝඩිනේටර්ට කියන්න. හරිද? Okay. Any doubts from this section? From egg formation? තේරුණාද මේක process එක?
එතකොට මුලින්ම යෝක් එක විතරයි තියෙන්නේ. පස්සේ තමා මේ ඇල්බියුමින් ලේයර් එක වැටෙන්නේ නේද?
Yes. Yolk is the ova. Ova is produced from the ovary and it is captured by the infundibulum and moved through the oviduct. From various parts of the oviduct, the rest of the parts of the egg is added. Clear?
Yes, madam.
Okay, so next. So this is regarding egg formation, how egg is formed. Now we will discuss what are the other management practices, especially we should conduct for the for the commercial layers when we are taking eggs from the layers. So first one is beak trimming. It is called debeaking. We are going to cut or we are going to reduce the length of the beak of the layer birds. Why you should do this? One is to prevent the feather pulling and the cannibalism. That means we are keeping them for about 72 weeks, right? Broilers නම් සති 8යි තියාගත්තා. මේගොල්ලන්ව සති 72ක් විතර තියාගත්තා. They do cannibalism. කොටා ගන්නේ. Once they do cannibalism, they do feather pecking කොටනවා, they do damaging to the others. Yes, decrease mortality of cannibalism. We should do debeaking. Yes. That is why we should do debeaking. At the same time, to reduce the feed wastage. Right? They splash the feed. So that is why we should practice. And we should practice at the initial stages at 7 to 8 weeks of their age. We do debeaking at the first time. පළවෙනි පාරම අපි කරන්නේ සති 7ත් 10ත් අතර මුල්ම අවධියේ because it creates less pain for them. Their nerves and the blood vessels are not well developed at the initial stages. That is why we practice at the initial stages because it creates less pain for the animal. This is the first time. After that, එයාලගේ ඊට පස්සේ ඒක හැමම තියෙන්නේ නැහැ. ඔක වැවෙනවා. ඊට පස්සේ වැවිච්ච කාලයකට ආපහු කරන්න පුළුවන්. So there are two methods of doing debeaking. One is manual debeaking, like this. We can cut from a sharp knife or debeaker, manual debeaker. This is manual debeaker. Or from a sharp knife or nail cutter, we can cut. Only tip of the beak is removed here. තියෙන තරම් හොටේ දිගටම කපලා දාන්නේ නැත. සතා මැරෙනවා. Right? No bleeding should be happen. Only tip of the beak should be removed. This is manual debeaking. And this is called cauterizing. Right? In here, there is a cauterizing.
සල්ලලත් කරනව නේද?
මොකද?
UV ray සල්ලල.
දැන් කරනවා ඇති. පුච්චන්නනේ ඕනේ කොහොම වෙත? Right? So this is cauterizer. In this cauterizer, there is a heated blade. We keep our birds here and heated blade is going down. Then it is the beak is cut. By this heating, it is important to seal the blood vessels and the nerves. මේ heat කරපුවාම blood vessels නුයි nerves නුයි seal වෙනවා. So no excess bleeding is coming because of the debeaking process. So that is how we do debeaking. So the other management practices, important management practice is deworming. We did practice this deworming for the broilers as well because we are keeping less time period, the broilers. But in here, we going to keep them for 72 weeks. Definitely, we should do deworming. Deworming is we are giving anti-parasitic drugs to our layers. පිටත් පණු බෙහෙත් දෙන්න පොඩි කාලේ. අන්න ඒ වගේ මේගොල්ලන්ට පණු බෙහෙත් දෙන්න ඕනේ. Because their body is consisted with various type of internal parasites. These are some of them. Roundworms, cecal worms, threadworms, tapeworms. These are the worms we can identify inside the layers body. These worms infestation will result negative impacts. Loss of appetite. Loss of appetite means කන්න බෑ. සතා කන්නේ නැහැ. ඔයගොල්ලෝ ඉමේජින් කරන්න පොඩි ළමයෙකුට පණු බෙහෙත් දෙනවා කියලා අම්මලා තීරණය කරන්නේ ඔන්න මෙන්න මේ වගේ කන්න නැතුව බර අඩු වෙනකොට කෙට්ටු වෙනකොට තමයි පණු බෙහෙත් දෙන්නේ. Like the same. The birds will suffer depression. Birds will reduce the weight gain. Their body condition will reduce. Weight will be lost. Anemia. Anemia means රක්තහීනතා. Because these worms, these are the picture of the worms. These worms suck blood from the layer's body. So layer doesn't have any blood enough. So she will suffer with anemia. And in egg also, sometimes we can see worms. At the same time, all these things will result decreased egg production. Right? So it is important to practice routine deworming practices. That means we have to provide drugs to reduce this type of worm infestation. antiparasitic drugs like piperacin, albendazole, mebendazole, fenbendazole. So these are antiparasitic drugs. We can give them with drinking water in every 45 days. දවස් 45කට සැරයක් මේ drugs drinking water එක දෙන්න පුළුවන් to reduce that parasitic infestation. So it is called deworming. So another management practice we have to practice is the culling. Culling means, what do you mean by culling? We remove the bird from the flock. Remove means we kill. Why we should practice culling? To reduce the cost of production. අපි මෙහෙම culling practice කරන්නේ unproductive layers. Culling means we remove the unproductive layers from the flock. Remove means we kill. Right? We do culling because we have to reduce the feed cost. Cost of the egg production we should remove. දැන් හිතන්න බිත්තර දාන්න නැති කිකිලියක් ඉන්නවා. එයා කෑම කනවා. හැබැයි බිත්තර දාන්නේ නැත. එයාව තියාගෙන ඉන්න එකේ තේරුම මොකක්ද? We do farming to earn profit. So, if she doesn't give any egg for us, what is the point of keeping her in the flock? She is consuming feed and it is wasting. Right? So that's why we do culling. At the same time, sometimes we do culling to reduce the incidence of the disease. Suppose one bird is infected with contagious disease. Contagious disease means වසංගත රෝගයකින් එයා එයාට වසංගත රෝගයක් හැදිලා. ඒ අනිත් අයට යන්න කලින් it is better to kill her. Otherwise, entire flock will be getting the disease. At the same time, to provide more feed and more space for more productive birds. We have limited space environment. If we keep unproductive birds, they utilize feed and the space. But they give nothing. It is good to give that feed and space for our productive birds. Because they give things to us to earn profit. So that is why we do culling. So culling can be practiced during the growing period, grower stage, as well as in the laying stage. So during the growing stage, we only consider about the growth parameters because they don't lay eggs. Right? When we do culling at the growing stage, we consider about the vigor, the strength, growth rate, weight gain. Likewise, the vigor characteristic we observe. Whether they are susceptible for many diseases, whether they have low vigor, whether they are sexually mature, whether they mature sexually slowly or rapidly. So we do culling the birds which shows low vigor, slow maturing, and poor growth. Those birds we are going to cull at the growing stage. At the laying stage, we are focusing about the egg laying. Whether this bird has ability to lay eggs. We are checking. How can we check? We can examine the several parameters. These are the things we can examine. The good layer has large comb, bright red comb. You know what is comb, right? At the same time, her eyes are big, bright, and active. The vent is oblong. Oblong means oblong කියන්නේ මොකක්ද? What do you mean by oblong? Oblong means rectangular shape, right? It means like this. This is the oblong shape. Right? So the chicken vent should be in oblong shape, in a good layer. Right? At the same time, it should be moist, pethawendoni, and pinkish in color. Right? So in non-layer eggs, non-layer hens, the vent will be round shape, not oblong, and dry, and yellow ring will be there. Vent area, you can see yellow color. So there are some measurements we should get when we check the good layers and the bad layers. One is distance between two pubic bones. I'll show you the pictures how we can get that measurement. Can you see? Here, this is the pubic bone. These are pubic bones. The distance in between two pubic bones distance in between two pubic bones should be 3-finger distance. Can you see? These are good layers. Look at this layer. Distance in between two pubic bones is 1 finger. This is not a good layer. Right? At the same time, distance between pubic bone and keel bone. Keel bone is here. And pubic bones are here. So distance between keel bone and pubic bone, there should be 4 fingers. So this is a good layer. But in here, distance between pubic bones and keel bones is only 2 fingers. So this is not a good layer. That is how we should determine the good layers and the bad layers at the laying stage. Right? So poor layers we are going to cut. We are removing from the flock. So that is all regarding the commercial layer management. If you need any clarification regarding this, please ask now. Now we are going to learn about poultry diseases. හරි ප්‍රශ්නයක් තියෙනවද? තේරෙනවද කරපු දේවල්? Can somebody speak, please? Do you need any clarification? Do you have any doubts regarding these things?
No, ma'am.
Okay. So take 10 minutes break. This is new topic I am going to discuss with you, the poultry disease. So take 10 minutes break and come. Can somebody speak, please? Can you see the slide? Okay, now we are going to learn about poultry diseases. These are common for the both broilers and layers. And the ducks and turkeys and quails, all these fellows, they can get these type of diseases. So we will see the only major diseases what they can happen. So first we will discuss about the introductory part. That means what is a disease and what can be happen with these diseases and why we should learn about these diseases. So diseases are any malfunction in a structure or in a function of the body. Malfunction means මොකක් හරි deviation එකක්. හරියට වැඩ කරන්නේ නැහැ. එක්කෝ function එකක් නැත්නම් ක්‍රියාකාරීත්වයක් එහෙම නැත්නම් structure එකක්. මොකක් හරි ව්‍යුහයක්. මොනවා හරි ව්‍යුහයක හරි ක්‍රියාකාරීත්වයක හරි එන malfunction එකකට කියනවා disease එකක් කියලා. So these diseases will decrease the growth rate, decrease the egg production, decrease the amount of muscle, decrease the feed conversion efficiency, decrease the breeding. So all the economic characteristics, the characteristics we are going to earn profit are decreased because of these diseases. So that's why we have to have an idea about these type of diseases, what we should do when the disease is occurred, what we should do before or to prevent the disease occurrence. So that's what we are going to learn now. So there are two types of diseases. Diseases coming from infectious agent and diseases coming from environmental factors. So diseases coming from infectious agent means diseases occur due to germs or parasites or external parasites and internal parasites. ඒ කියන්නේ disease එකක් හැදෙන්න diseases ಜಾති දෙකයි. එක disease එකක් තමයි මොකක් හරි living organism කෙනෙක්ගෙන් හැදෙනවා. We call them as pathogens or germs. Germs will consist bacteria, virus, fungi, and external parasites, lice and mites. Kinitullo. So those are also living organisms now. And internal parasites. You learn internal parasites in last session. The worms grow inside the body. And protozoa. So those are internal parasites. So those living organisms can cause diseases. So those living organisms are called infectious agents. So they can give diseases for our poultry. And there are some extra environmental factors can cause diseases like poisons, aflatoxin, aspergillosis. So poisons, that means pesticides. Those poisons are called diseases. Injuries, tuala, and nutritional deficiencies. Vitamin E, I told you at the brooding stage, first day, we have to give vitamin E to avoid the leg abnormality coming to the birds. Right? So likewise, nutritional deficiencies also environmental factors which results disease. At the same time, physical stress and exposing to rodents. So those are environmental factors which can cause malfunction in their body. So now we know what are the reasons for the diseases and why we should care about these diseases. Now we will discuss the major diseases we can found in poultry industry. So first one is Newcastle disease. It is a viral disease caused by paramyxovirus. This is the name of that virus. This is highly contagious disease. Highly contagious means ikmanta pathirena. Right? So the spreading is coming from the infected droppings. Infected dropping means ledaveccha sathenge droppings, fecal matters. And respiratory discharge. This is respiratory disease and respiratory discharge. The discharge coming from the nostrils. So so birds to birds, this type of spreading can be happen. At the same time, the spreading can be happen using equipment, trucks, visitors, wild birds, and air also. That means if you use equipment, feeder or water or something with infected birds, definitely that feeder and water is contaminated with that virus. Once the healthier bird is contact with that infected feeder and water, definitely that healthier animal will also get the disease. ලෙඩ වෙච්ච සතෙක් කාපු බීපු ෆීඩර් එකකින් හොඳ සතෙක් කෑවොත් බිව්වොත් එයාටත් මේ ලෙඩේ හැදෙනවා. Such type of spreading is there. So that is how the disease is spread. And we will discuss about the symptoms of this disease. Signs of respiratory distress, that means husma ganna amaru. Once the bird is infected with Newcastle disease, definitely the bird cannot breathe. And nervous sign, nervous means kalabalai. And torticollis, torticollis means twisted necks, like this. It is called torticollis. So once the bird is suffering from Newcastle disease, they will suffer from twisted neck. At the same time, you can see misshapen eggs in layers like this. Wrinkled, misshapen eggs you can see. So how we cure this disease? There's no any drug to cure this disease. Make a හැදුනට පස්සේ හොඳ කරන්න drugs නැහැ. Because this is a viral disease. Virus වලට බෙහෙත් නැහැ කියන එක දන්නවනේ. කොරෝනා වලටත් බෙහෙත් තිබුණ නැහැනේ නේද? ඒක නිසා so this is also viral disease, so no cure treatment for curing. But we can give antibiotics to avoid the secondary bacterial infections. That means once the virus is there inside the body, they are in a stress condition, their immunity is suppressed. Another bacteria can easily also get into the body and grow. This is secondary infection. ඒ කියන්නේ එයා ස්ට්‍රෙස් එකේ virus එක තියෙන නිසා එයා ස්ට්‍රෙස් එකේ ඇඟ නිකන් විගර් එක බහැලා ඉන්නකොට බැක්ටීරියා වලටත් ලේසියෙන්ම ඉන්වේඩ් කරන්න පුළුවන්. right? So, excuse me. Okay, so we can give antibiotics, amoxicillin, enrofloxacin like antibiotics we can give to avoid secondary infection by the bacteria, right? So only we can prevent the disease by doing vaccination. කොරෝනා හැදෙන්න කලිනුත් අපිට වැක්සින් කරන්න කිව්වනේ. එතකොට හැදෙන්නේ නැහැ කියලා. අන්න ඒ වගේ තමයි මේකෙත් අපි මුලින්ම කුකුළුන්ව වැක්සින් කරන්න ඕනේ against the Newcastle disease. Right? To prevent the occurrence of this Newcastle disease. So this is about Newcastle disease and we will move to next disease. It is coccidiosis. This is a parasitic disease. Parasite, it is a protozoa, not a worm. It is protozoa. Eimeria tenella, Eimeria maxima, Eimeria necatrix, Eimeria burnetti. So those are the parasites cause coccidiosis in poultry. So it is transmitted, or it is spread using the species contaminated with oocytes of the protozoa. This Eimeria protozoa produce oocytes. That means eggs, parasitic eggs. So those oocytes are released to the environment through the feces from the infected birds. So likewise, this disease can be spread. So the clinical signs or the symptoms of the disease are bloody diarrhea. Bloody diarrhea means ලේ බඩ යනවා කියන්නේ. ලේ පාටට බඩේලිය යනවා. And high mortality. සත්තු ගොඩක් මැරෙනවා. At the same time, negative effect can be there in the weight gain and the feed conversion. So those are the signs. And what happens in this disease is they have Zika in their digestive system. It is swelled and filled with blood. ලේ පිරීලා ඉදිමෙනවා එයාලගේ සීකා එක මේ digestive tract එකේ තියෙනවා. So there is a treatment. Once the disease is there, we can give anticoccidial chemical. Coccid is there, coccid-like chemicals, anticoccidial chemicals we can give. Right? As prevention method, we can enhance the biosecurity. Biosecurity methods means all the protective measures we can get against disease-causing agent. හැම protective measure එකක්ම අපි ගන්න disease-causing agent කෙනෙක්ට එරෙහිව අපි ගන්න හැම precaution එකකටම අපි කියනවා biosecurity measure එකක් කියලා. So we can enhance biosecurity measures to prevent the disease coming to the. At the same time, we can give medicated feed with coccidiostat. What do you mean by coccidiostat? That means low dose of anticoccidial chemical. කියෝ කරන්න ඒක ලෙඩේ හොඳ කරන්න anticoccidial drugs දෙන්න තියෙනවා නම් ග්‍රෑම් 10 අපි ග්‍රෑම් 5ක් විතර දෙනවා ෆීඩ් එක ඩිසීස් එක හැදෙන්න කලින් එතකොට මේක හැදෙන්නේ නැත. Right? So those are the curing steps and the preventive steps. So another disease, this is also a viral disease. It is called infectious bursal disease, IBD. සාමාන්‍ය ව්‍යවහාරයෙන් මේකට ගාම්බෝරෝ disease එක කියලා කියනවා. So it is also a viral disease caused by Burna virus. The name of the virus is Burna virus. This is very infectious and contagious disease. That means infectious means ඉක්මනට හැදෙනවා ඒකම ඉක්මනට spread වෙනවා. It can be spread even through air. හුලඟිනුත් හැදෙන්න පුළුවන්. හරිද? ඒකම contaminated clothes, contaminated equipments and contaminated visitors and farm equipment, farm vehicle. So possible. Right? So the clinical signs are the chicken will show depressed and huddling together, and pinpoint blood patches are there in the thigh muscle, like this. Can you see this type of little blood patches are there in thigh muscle? Like this. It is called pinpoint blood patches. Not hemorrhages, but pinpoint blood patches are there in the thigh muscle, thigh area, when the chicken is suffering from Gumboro disease. Clear? At the same time, bursa fabricius, it's a gland located inside the poultry body. It is swelled like this. It has immune function in poultry's body. It is swelled and it's lost its function. So the birds will die. මේ ගම්බෝරෝ හැදුනහම සතු 100ක් ඉන්නවා නම් අද 20ක් මැරෙනවා හෙට වෙනකොට ඉතුරු ඔක්කොම මැරෙනවා. Clear? Can you see the slide? Can you see the slide, please?
Yes, we can.
Okay. So since this is a viral disease, there's no treatment to cure the disease. But of course, we can provide antibiotics for the secondary infection. And as a preventive measures, to prevent the disease entering to our farm, we can do vaccination against IBD. I'll give the vaccination schedule for the broilers and layers. And we can enhance the biosecurity practices. So those are the things we can do. And the next disease is the salmonellosis. This is a bacterial disease caused by Salmonella species. Salmonella pullorum, Salmonella gallinarum, Salmonella typinurium. So those are the 3 Salmonella strains cause this salmonellosis. These are bacteria. And this is a zoonotic disease. Zoonotic disease means it can be transmitted from the birds to the humans. Both vertical and horizontal transmission can be seen. Vertical means from, that means suppose one layer is infected with salmonella, the egg laying by that hen is also contaminated with salmonella. හරිද? ඒ කියන්නේ අම්මගෙන් බිත්තරයට යනවා. ඒ බිත්තරෙන් පැටියෙක් આવොත් එයාට salmonella හැදෙනවා. It is called vertical transmission. And horizontal transmission means from infected bird to another bird. Not blood relationship is there. ලෙඩ වෙච්ච සතෙක්ගෙන් තව සතෙක්ට යන්න එකට කියනවා horizontal transmission කියලා. ලෙඩ වෙච්ච සතෙක්ගෙන් එයා දාන බිත්තරේ කන්ටැමිනේට් වෙලා එයා දාන පැටියටත් කන්ටැමිනේට් වෙච්ච අන්න ඒකට කියනවා vertical transmission කියලා. So in this salmonellosis there is vertical and horizontal transmission, both you can observe. So as clinical signs, definitely diarrhea. If salmonella typinurium contamination, you can sorry, salmonella pullorum contamination, you can see white color diarrhea is there, white color pasted vent is there. Pasted vent කියන්නේ vent area එක සුදු පාටින් paste එකක් වගේ බැඳිලා තියෙනවා. Right? At the same time, ruffled feathers and sunken combs you can see. Shrunken combs, ඇකිලිච්ච comb එකක් you can see. The birds will be weak and loss of appetite you can see, and they will show poor growth. So as treatments, we can give antibiotics for them to eliminate the pathogens inside the chicken's body. At the same time, we can do culling. We can kill the bird who are suffering from salmonella. So as preventive measure, we can do frequent examination of the flock. අපි හැම නිතරම ගිහිල්ලා බලන්න ඕනේ අපේ සත්තු කොහොමද හැසිරෙන්නේ, මොනවද තියෙන symptoms, disease symptoms තියනවද, likewise, and to enhance the biosecurity measures. So these are the major poultry diseases you have to have an idea. So now I am giving the vaccination schedule. This is how we should do vaccination, because vaccination is the only pathway of preventing viral disease. So we should follow vaccination schedule when you rear broilers and layers. This is the vaccination schedule for the broilers. From day 1, Marek's disease you have to vaccinate. From day 1 and day 14 and day 21, you should do vaccination again, Newcastle disease. Day 1 to and day 14 and day 21, you should do vaccination for the infection bronchitis and the infectious bursal disease. Likewise, there are some diseases you have to do vaccination, and there is separate vaccination schedule for layers as well. Likewise, මොකද layers ලා අපි සති 72ක් යනකම් තියා ගන්නවා. ඒ හින්දා යාලගේ vaccination schedule එක ටිකක් ලොකුයි. So according to the vaccination, you should give vaccine against these diseases. So this is the end of the lecture, the poultry management. If you need any clarification regarding these diseases, please ask. තේරුම් නැති තැනක් තියෙනවද? Clear, all of you? These things?
Can you, madam, explain again biosecurity measures, please?
Biosecurity measures are any kind of protective measures we get against the disease-causing pathogens. As an example, we maintain food bath in front of the door, right? I discussed with you, we keep disinfectant agent, that means chlorine or Dettol or something in the food bath. We have to dip our food in this disinfectant when we get entered to the poultry cage. It is a biosecurity measure. පැහැදිලි? Clear for you?
Okay, madam, it is very clear. Thank you.
Okay. Yes, madam. Okay. Any protective measure you get against the disease-causing pathogens is a biosecurity measure. It will prevent the entering of the disease to your farm. ඒ කියන්නේ farm එකට ලෙඩ එන එක වළක්වන්න පුළුවන්. not to cure. ඒ කියන්නේ disease එක ආවට පස්සේ හොඳ කරන්න නෙමෙයි ඒක වැදගත් වෙන්නේ. disease එක එන්න කලින් වළක්වන්නයි වැදගත් වෙන්නේ. ආවට පස්සේ හොඳ කරන්න අනිවාර්යයෙන්ම බෙහෙත් දෙන්න ඕනේ. viral disease වලට තියෙන ප්‍රශ්නේ තමයි viral disease වලට බෙහෙත් නැහැ. ඒ හින්දා it is important to follow biosecurity measures to prevent the disease entering. Clear all of you? ප්‍රශ්න නැද්ද මොකුත්? Okay, seems like you don't have any question or any doubts you don't have. So I am going to wind up my session and we will meet next day to discuss about swine management. Okay? Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much, madam.